Chapter 370. If the world spirit were not asleep but awake, it would have easily crushed Lin Yuan's consciousness at this moment, without the slightest suspense. The consciousness dispersed into countless subtle parts could not withstand the overwhelming pressure of the vast world spirit. But the world spirit was asleep, and so, that scene did not occur. Even so, Lin Yuan remained extremely cautious. Even with the world spirit asleep, dispersing his consciousness like this still held the risk of assimilation. Once assimilated, Lin Yuan would lose himself completely. Although he would eventually replace the world spirit, in essence, he would be no different from the replaced consciousness. Therefore, Lin Yuan was very vigilant. The moment an assimilation trend appeared, he would not hesitate to end this traversal. At that time, the door to the myriad realms would operate on its own, drawing all his consciousness inside and sending it back to the main world. This was Lin Yuan's greatest assurance in daring to attempt to replace the world spirit. He had the door to the myriad realms, which could prevent the most extreme situations from occurring. It was nothing more than an earlier return. For Lin Yuan, the loss was negligible. Time slowly passed. In the blink of an eye, 3 years had passed. In these 3 years, Lin Yuan's consciousness, following the operation of the origin power, merged into every corner of the Tianqing world. At this moment, the Tianqing world subtly began to undergo some changes. These changes were extremely minute, so much so that even the 7th-rank peak Tianqing alliance leader only sensed a fraction of them and wasn't even sure about it. Above the sky, an enormous face faintly appeared, the face of Lin Yuan. His eyes alone spanned over 1,000,000 miles, overlooking every detail of the Tianqing world. Have I successfully replaced it? Lin Yuan thought to himself, as at this moment, with just a thought, he could appear anywhere in the Tianqing world. He didn't even need to appear to feel everything happening within the world. Am I the master of the world? Lin Yuan's consciousness returned, settling back into the body of the ancestral demon tree. In the Tianqing world, I am invincible. Lin Yuan's expression was thoughtful. At this moment, he had completely replaced the world spirit of the Tianqing world. The entire Tianqing world was like his own body, which he could control at will. This power is too terrifying. Lin Yuan couldn't help but be astounded. The feeling of controlling an entire world was too overwhelming, with the power of the world at his fingertips. Lin Yuan had a feeling that if he were to face the invasion of the ancestral demon tree at this moment, there would be no pressure at all. The biggest difference between Lin Yuan and the original world spirit was that he had concrete thoughts and ideas and was capable of any action. It was like the natural world's herbivores facing carnivores. Even if they were far superior in strength and size, they wouldn't dare to resist and would just wait to die when chased. The Tianqing world and the foreign evil god were like the herbivores and carnivores, respectively. The world spirit of the Tianqing world, having only basic instincts, faced the invasion of the foreign evil god and could only blindly use all its strength without being able to control the details. And now that Lin Yuan had replaced the original world spirit and controlled everything, any foreign evil god, unless there were dozens or hundreds of them, could be directly ignored. Origin Fine Gold. With a thought from Lin Yuan, the Origin Fine Gold appeared before him. Nearly 500 years of nurture had given the Origin Fine Gold a definitive shape. Bell-shaped object with many natural patterns engraved on its surface, ancient and vast, bearing the marks of the long passage of time. My requirement for nurturing the Origin Fine Gold was defense, absolute defense, not just on a physical level, but also to include protection for the spirit and soul, Lin Yuan said as he scrutinized the Origin Fine Gold. The preciousness of the Origin Fine Gold lay in its growth potential and malleability. The latter meant it could be shaped toward any type of weapon. Lin Yuan possessed against heaven's understanding, given time, he could reach unimaginably great heights, so naturally, his shaping of the Origin Fine Gold was focused on survival. However, nurturing the Origin Fine Gold does indeed consume a significant amount of the world's origin source. 500 years of nurturing has reduced the world's origin source by at least 5 to 10%, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Don't underestimate 5 to 10%. Given the size of the Tianqing world, Even the lesser 5% was enough to bankrupt an 8th-layer evolver from the main world. But it's worth it. Hundreds of years of nurturing have almost shaped the origin fine gold. Once I return this time, it should be ready for use. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Given the great strength of the origin fine gold, the intensity of its soul defense was on par with the treasures that protect the soul of an 8th rank. What's most valuable is that the origin fine gold could be layered with other weapons and treasures. That is to say, Lin Yuan could guard his soul with both an 8th rank soul defense treasure and the origin fine gold at the same time. Under the ancestral demon tree, the Tianqing Alliance leader, together with the Vice Alliance hierarchs, protectors, and elders, all gathered here. Master. The Tianqing Alliance leader spoke respectfully, addressing the figure before him in a low voice. Master. The others did the same. All of you rise. Lin Yuan waved his hand. The form that he now revealed to the crowd was an incarnation, condensed from the power of the world. Having replaced the consciousness of the world and becoming the true master of Tianqing world, Lin Yuan could mobilize the world's power for his own use. Conjuring an incarnation was but a thought away. Next, I will be in seclusion, the duration of which is uncertain, possibly hundreds, thousands, or even tens of thousands of years, Lin Yuan said. In a few years, Lin Yuan's time to remain would reach its limit, and he would return to the main world. Although Lin Yuan had become the master of Tianqing world and the cost of descending again would be much lower, because of the different flow rates of time between the two worlds, the next time Lin Yuan descended, it might be hundreds or thousands of years later. Ah, the master is going into seclusion? Thousands to tens of thousands of years, that's far too long, said the Tianqing Alliance leader and many others under his command, unable to hide their feelings. During my seclusion, the governance of Tianqing world should follow the directives I've left behind based on the measures and principles, Lin Yuan continued. The measures and principles he referred to derived from the civilization of human civilization in the main world. As one of the peak civilizations in the universe with a long history, humans have extensive experience in governing the life on a planet. These measures and principles were those Lin Yuan had learned from the main world. As long as they implemented these principles and maintained them with their formidable martial strength, Tianqing world would enjoy a long period of prosperity. And this, in turn, would be greatly beneficial to martial Tao. The more prosperous and thriving the world became, the greater and higher quality the number of martial Tao cultivators would be. All right. You may all leave, Lin Yuan gestured. The Tianqing Alliance leader and others respectfully withdrew. In the upcoming years, Lin Yuan gave up cultivating altogether. Instead, utilizing the abilities of the world's master, he traveled to every corner of Tianqing world. For the world to function, life is key. Lin Yuan stood atop a mountain, looking down at a village wreathed in cooking smoke below. Without life, no matter how comprehensive the myriad rules contained, something would always be missing. Rules of life. Green glimmers flowed faintly within Lin Yuan's eyes. Like the space rules, life rules were one of the foundational rules, critical to the world's evolution, how life is born. Your against heaven's understanding watches life proliferate, deepening your comprehension of life rules. Who would have thought in these final years I would actually have entered the gateway of understanding the life rules? A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Life rules were at the same level as space rules. Originally, Lin Yuan had expended considerable effort to reach the gateway of understanding with space rules. But now, understanding the gateway of life rules seemed to be much easier. This ease was due to Lin Yuan's current lofty stature, far beyond when he had first understood space rules, and his position as the world's master, which allowed him to feel the myriad forms of life in finer detail. Time's up. Lin Yuan's consciousness converged in his mind, seeing the door to the myriad realms suddenly burst into bright light. All the preparations and arrangements have now been made. Novel. Calm Lin Yuan looked up in the direction of the ancestral demon tree. By now, he had replaced the ancestral demon tree's instinctual consciousness with his own. Even if he were to leave this world, he would still have it firmly within his grasp. He had deeply branded it with his own life's mark, ensuring that upon his next descent, he could instantaneously take possession of the world. "I'm leaving now." Lin Yuan withdrew his gaze, and his form rapidly dissipated. His consciousness turned into a speck of light, entering the door to the myriad realms. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 371. In a Daze, Chikuan Main Star, 13 Peaks. Deep within the Grand Hall, Lin Yuan slowly opened his eyes. 600 years. In the blink of an eye. Lin Yuan's gaze rippled as scenes from his experiences in the Tianqing world flashed through his mind, and then settled back into calmness. For someone like the Chikuan Star Lord, who had lived for hundreds of thousands of years, 600 years might just be a small nap. Even for his significantly younger senior brothers, first, second, and third, it might just be like closing their eyes for one meditation session, or the time it takes to practice a secret technique. But for Lin Yuan, it was already a protracted period. Even if adding in the previous times he had traveled, 600 years made up a substantial proportion of the total time. Sigh. Lin Yuan looked around. The world has changed. Lin Yuan's eyes were serene. After comprehending more than 1,000 core spatial models, Lin Yuan could now see the ripples caused by the fluctuations of countless forces of space everywhere his sight touched. If the Tianqing world was a small pond, for every ripple Lin Yuan could trace back to the source and see the end, everything was within his control. Then the cosmic starry sky of the main world was like a vast ocean. Any single spatial ripple could spread and affect places extremely far away, and even if Lin Yuan strained his eyes, he could only see a small part of the fluctuations. Different size of worlds, different perceptions and feelings. Lin Yuan appeared thoughtful. He clearly felt that, upon returning to the main world, the bottleneck restraint he faced when contemplating the core spatial models, if not entirely swept away, had dissipated for the most part. Let's not worry about these for now. Let's check on the connection between the door to the myriad realms and the Tianqing world. Lin Yuan's thoughts converged, his spirit delving into his mind, looking towards that towering and majestic door to the myriad realms. In the last 200 years in the Tianqing world, Lin Yuan had abandoned everything else, focusing all his energy on establishing a method to replace the world's consciousness. Such action was naturally not just to control the Tianqing world. If it were about controlling the Tianqing world, Lin Yuan really didn't need to bother so much. With the strength of the initial ancestral demon tree, who would dare not to obey where his will went? Lin Yuan's true goal was to transform the Tianqing world into a backyard and, from there, to entertain thoughts about the boundless outer void outside of the Tianqing world. Lin Yuan carefully observed the area below the door to the myriad realms. He saw that behind the marks of the 6 world coordinates, a 7th world coordinate mark was faintly forming. It was indeed the world coordinate of the Tianqing world. Lin Yuan watched the Tianqing world coordinate, and bits of information began to flood into his mind. As expected. Now, choosing to descend in the Tianqing world, the consumption of world-breaking origin force is only 1/3 of a strand? Lin Yuan was pleased in his heart. This precise descent into a world by using world coordinates consumes 10 strands of the world-breaking origin force. And now, it's only 1/3 of a strand, clearly indicating that the Tianqing world was no longer resistant to Lin Yuan's consciousness, and even actively welcoming it, greatly saving the consumption of the world-breaking origin force. 1/3 of a strand of world-breaking origin force is just over 90 days in the main world. A smile emerged on Lin Yuan's face. The normal time it takes for the door to the myriad realms to accumulate 1 strand of world-breaking origin force is 333 days. With the enhancement of the eternal spatial rift, it only takes 290 days for 1 strand. Also, through the world coordinates on the door to the myriad realms, am I vaguely able to receive many messages from the ancestral demon tree? Lin Yuan suddenly sensed something. The ancestral demon tree has now become the new world consciousness of the Tianqing world. That is, the heavenly Tao. And the ancestral demon tree is merely a vessel for Lin Yuan, quite similar to an avatar. Theoretically, They should share the same consciousness and memory. However, because the main world and the Tianqing world are in the boundless void so far apart from each other, Fieb novel. Not even in the same dimension, not in the same tier, and even the flow of time is vastly different, the perceptive connection between Lin Yuan and the ancestral demon tree was utterly severed. But through the door to the myriad realms, they were somehow barely establishing a weak connection? I didn't expect the door to the myriad realms to have this use too. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Through this faint connection, he roughly knew the state of the Tianqing world, and so the timing of his descent would be more precise. Even if the current consumption to descend into the Tianqing world is only 1/3 of a strand of world-breaking origin force, even if it were 1/10 of a strand, it is still world-breaking origin force and shouldn't be wasted carelessly. Having confirmed the connection with the Tianqing world, Lin Yuan then turned his attention to himself. Shall we take a look at the inner world? With a slight movement of his thoughts, Lin Yuan's consciousness descended into his inner world. Before the sixth traversal, Lin Yuan's inner world was only 10 miles in circumference. But now, as Lin Yuan's consciousness descended, many insights into the space rules merged, boom boom boom. The inner world welcomed a massive change. At the world's edge, countless forces of space converged, space vibrated, and the world's limits rapidly rose, leading to Lin Yuan once again fell into a kind of insane hunger. Upon stepping into the 7th rank and starting to carve out his inner world, Lin Yuan had this feeling, but at that time, he had prepared enough red spirit fluid, so the creation of the inner world went extremely smoothly. But now, hold on, wait a second. Lin Yuan hastily suppressed the expansion of his inner world, for with his current understanding of the space rules, the ultimate limit of his inner world at the very least would span 10,000 miles. 10 miles in circumference versus 10,000 miles or more is not a simple increase by thousands of times. The demand for energy is terrifying. If Lin Yuan didn't suppress it, he might be drained dry. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 372. Actively suppressing the expansion of my inner world, my behavior must be considered rare in the history of human civilization. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. In general, the expansion of an 8th-layer evolver's inner world is gradual, primarily depending on the understanding of space rules. And grasping space rules, especially the core space models, would naturally not show a sudden leap in a short time but slowly improve. Thus, the expansion of the inner world could be achieved by naturally absorbing and exhaling external energy. As for Lin Yuan, who in an instant comprehended over 1,000 core space models. Such a span, such magnitude, if spoken of, it's estimated that very few 8th-layer evolvers would believe it. Apply for red spirit fluid. Lin Yuan immediately connected to the virtual network and began to apply for a large batch of red spirit fluid. He'll probably have to wait a few days. After completing the application, Lin Yuan thought to himself. If it were just a normal quota of red spirit fluid, Lin Yuan could apply now and expect it to be delivered in half an hour. After all, he was currently on Qikuan main star. But the amount of red spirit fluid Lin Yuan applied for was too vast, millions to tens of millions of times the amount he applied for when breaking through to the 7th rank. Martial Path Evolutionary Path 7th Rank Chapter. While waiting for the red spirit fluid, Lin Yuan began to scrutinize the 7th rank chapter. After the 6th revision spanning hundreds of years of continuous perfection, the Martial Path Evolutionary Path's 7th rank chapter was essentially formed. What was left for Lin Yuan to do was merely to make minor adjustments to it based on the various physiques of the evolutioners within human civilization. Even so, Lin Yuan felt that even this minor adjustment was unnecessary, as everything that needed consideration had already been considered while in the Tianqing world. Half a day later, Lin Yuan bundled up the organized 7th rank chapter and uploaded it to the Goddess of Wisdom. Respected Level 6 Citizen Lin Yuan, the 7th rank chapter you uploaded is currently being judged, please wait. The solemn and cold voice of the Goddess of Wisdom came through. Meanwhile, on a mysterious planet far, far away from the Qikuan Star Lord, Screen after giant screen flickered madly, beginning to analyze the potential and details of the 7th rank chapter of Martial Tao. Detected, 7th rank chapter involves multiple paths, with increased ubiquity in follow-up. Detected, 7th rank chapter in a few paths, there is the potential to open up an inner world. Re-evaluation of the martial path evolutionary path begins. Found, 7th rank chapter greatly improves adaptability to various extreme environments, likely to traverse the spiritless wastelands. Overall assessment of the martial path evolutionary path is raised. After judgment, the possibility of the martial path evolutionary path advancing to the 8th rank evolution path reaches 70%, while the possibility of it advancing to the 9th rank evolution path reaches 30%, triggering the core contingency plan of human civilization, making contact with the goddess of freedom, the goddess of justice. After repeated confirmation by the 3 goddesses, the judgment of the martial path evolutionary path 7th rank chapter remains unchanged, maintaining the verdict. Beginning. Valuation of the 7th rank chapter. After judgment, the martial path evolutionary path 7th rank chapter is valued at 3 million merit points, and protective measures towards the founder of this evolution path have been increased. Lin Yuan patiently waited for the evaluation from the goddess of wisdom. It's been so long and still not out? Lin Yuan was slightly surprised. The longest wait he had previously experienced was when he had comprehensively altered the martial path, freeing it from the constraints of yin-yang taiji. But this time, uploading the 7th rank chapter, the waiting time had already exceeded that instance by far. Just wait. The longer the wait, the higher the value. Lin Yuan was not concerned. What he had plenty of now was time. With my current realm, as long as I recover my full strength, I would be at the 7th rank king level peak. Then my goal will be to break through to the 8th layer, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The most difficult step in breaking through to the 8th layer, opening an inner world, had long been completed by Lin Yuan. What Lin Yuan needed to focus on now was to strengthen his spirit will to meet the heart demon tribulation. However, there is no specific way to overcome the heart demon tribulation. The common means within the human alliance to pass it is simply to live long enough. Over the long years, even a pig, if it doesn't die, its spirit will won't be too weak. Next time I traverse, I might as well attempt to undergo the heart demon tribulation. If it doesn't work out, it'll just end the traversal and return to the main world, Lin Yuan thought to himself, considering this a sort of shortcut. By leveraging the traversal ability of the door to the myriad realms, he intended to make the heart demon lose its target. But whether this could actually succeed, Lin Yuan was uncertain. He didn't know what kind of existence the heart demon truly was. Was it from the outside world? Or did it stem from within oneself? If it was the latter, this shortcut tactic would probably be of little use. We'll see when the time comes. In fact, I haven't lived a short life. Including the time spent traversing worlds, it's been more than 1,000 years, Lin Yuan mused. The solemn and serene voice of the goddess of wisdom came through. Respected level 6 citizen Lin Yuan, the 7th stage Martial Tao chapter you submitted has been evaluated. Oh? How many merit points is it worth? Lin Yuan asked curiously. Given the waiting period, Lin Yuan judged that the value of the 7th stage chapter was very high. But how high exactly, only the 3 goddesses could determine. Respected level 6 citizen Lin Yuan, the 7th stage Martial Tao chapter you submitted is worth 3 million merit points. The goddess of wisdom replied. 3 million merit points. Lin Yuan was astonished. He had thought that at most it would be worth 1 million merit points or perhaps close to 2 million. He hadn't expected as much as 3 million merit points. 3 million merit points on the battlefields of different races were equivalent to the lives of 3 8th rank alien race beings, and those were the original incarnations, not mere avatars. Yet on the battlefields of different races, 8th rank aliens were extremely difficult to kill. The Chikuan Star Lord had devoured mostly avatars, while the true originals had long since fled to who knows where. Furthermore, an 8th rank alien race being was equivalent to an 8th stage evolver from the human civilization side, a highly influential figure who could request dominion over a star domain from the 3 goddesses and rule as a king. Not bad at all. Lin Yuan nodded slightly, pleased. The high regard the goddess of wisdom had for the 7th rank chapter indicated its potential, which in turn was a recognition of Lin Yuan himself. Let's check the specific details of the martial Tao evolution path now. Lin Yuan opened his personal panel to find the section on the martial path evolutionary path, an option only visible to the founders of an evolution path. Martial Tao evolution path, currently at 7th stage evolution path, probability of advancing to 8th stage evolution path, reaches 70%. Lin Yuan was stunned by this. A 70% chance of advancing to the 8th stage evolution path? This practically meant that as long as Lin Yuan didn't die, he would almost certainly be a future evolution grand scholar. The condition set by the Human Civilization Alliance for becoming an evolution grand scholar was to establish a complete, stable, and entirely new 8th rank evolution path. Despite being just one evolution path, the vast number of theories involved in its creation is like an ocean, and anyone capable of establishing an 8th stage evolution path is undoubtedly profoundly knowledgeable in many aspects of evolution. Becoming an 8th rank evolver might involve some stroke of luck, like acquiring an exotic treasure that could assist in establishing one's inner world. But becoming an evolution grand scholar has nothing to do with luck. It is a testament to one's own strength. Since its creation over 1 million years ago, the Qikuan star domain has only seen the emergence of 3 evolution grand scholars. In contrast, the number of 8th stage evolvers is in the hundreds or thousands of times greater. A 30% chance of advancing to the 9th stage evolution path? Lin Yuan's expression became focused. This was the first time he had seen such an evaluation. Up until now, the limit of the martial Tao evolution path had been the 8th stage. 9th stage evolution path. Lin Yuan's thoughts churned. So far, he had no idea about the 9th rank chapter of the martial Tao evolution path. However, since the 3 goddesses were convinced that there was a possibility for the current martial Tao evolution path to ascend to the 9th stage evolution path, it indicated that the path Lin Yuan was on was correct. Otherwise, it would clash with the 9th stage evolution path, and there would be no possibility of ascending to the 9th stage evolution path. Right. Let's see where the martial Tao evolution path ranks on the Qikuan evolution rankings. Lin Yuan seemed to remember something and immediately clicked on the ranking section. Martial Tao evolution path, ranked first on the Kanglin evolution ranking on the Qikuan evolution rankings. Lin Yuan's expression changed slightly, a look of surprise emerging. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 373. When the 6th stage martial Tao chapter was uploaded before, the ranking of the martial path evolutionary path on the Qikuan evolution rankings was 6th. This was already quite impressive. You should know that the evolutionary paths that could squeeze into the Qikuan evolution rankings were extremely powerful 7th rank evolution pathways, and the top 3 of those pathways even reached the 8th layer. They were from the 3 evolutionary scholars born in the Qikuan star domain. For millions of years, these 3 8th layer evolution pathways illuminated countless evolvers in the Qikuan star domain. It is unknown how many evolvers from the Qikuan star domain were influenced by these 3 8th layer evolution pathways. Therefore, for the martial path evolutionary path to enter 6th place in the Qikuan evolution rankings as a 6th rank evolution path was quite surprising to many. A 6th rank evolution path making it into the top 10 domains solely reserved for top-notch 7th rank evolution paths? And this time, with the upload of the 7th rank chapter, Lin Yuan thought, the ranking of the martial path evolutionary path might reach 5th, or 4th if better. Whether 4th or 5th, the martial path evolutionary path deserved to be called the strongest among the many 7th rank evolution pathways in the Qikuan star domain. However, when Lin Yuan actually saw the ranking of the martial path evolutionary path, it was somewhat unexpected. Qikuan evolution rankings, 2nd. This was the latest judgment of the martial path evolutionary path by the goddess of wisdom. Positioned 2nd on the Qikuan evolution rankings. It had crowned 2 8th layer evolution pathways. This is also, Lin Yuan slightly shook his head. He had thought that the ranking of the martial path evolutionary path would rise, but he had not expected it to shoot directly to second. Even Lin Yuan found it somewhat frightening. Though in Lin Yuan's heart, for the martial path evolutionary path to ascend to an 8th layer evolution pathway was not a difficult task, merely requiring orderly enlightenment, the goddess of wisdom and the other 2 goddesses were unaware. In the judgment of the 3 goddesses, the probability of the martial path evolutionary path ascending to an 8th layer evolution pathway was 70%. But an evolution pathway that had only a 70% chance of enlightenment had suppressed 2 other evolution pathways that were already at the 8th layer. This was utterly inconceivable. What could be the reason? Lin Yuan pondered in his heart. The most important thing in the 7th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path was to pioneer an inner world. That is, to master the law of world opening. But this method was also possessed by 8th layer evolution pathways. And to ascend to the 8th layer evolution pathway, mastering the law of world opening was essential. However, not all evolvers of the 7th rank chapter could pioneer an inner world. Not clear, Lin Yuan did not know how the 3 goddesses made their judgment. But since it was so, it meant that to the 3 goddesses, the position of the martial path evolutionary path surpassed the ordinary 8th layer evolution pathways. Qikuan Prime Virtual World. Central Plaza area. Numerous evolvers gathered here to chat. The martial path evolutionary path. It's also unclear when that mysterious scholar will upload the 7th rank chapter. Indeed, I'm also looking forward to it. After the upload of the 7th rank chapter, what rank can the martial path evolutionary path actually achieve? What rank it can still reach? I bet that once the 7th rank chapter is uploaded, the martial path evolutionary path will definitely reach 4th, the strongest among the many 7th rank evolution pathways in the Qikuan star domain. Right when the martial path evolutionary path was at the 6th stage, it already competed against a group of top-notch 7th rank evolution pathways. When the martial path evolutionary path ascends to 7th rank, apart from 8th layer evolution pathways, who could possibly suppress it? Freeweb novel. Numerous evolvers and high-level citizens continued to discuss. While some citizens questioned the timing of the upload of the 7th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path, believing that even for an evolutionary scholar, creating the present 7th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path would not be an easy task, all evolvers shared an almost unanimous idea. That was, once the 7th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path was uploaded, then the martial path evolutionary path would become the strongest 7th rank evolution pathway in the history of the Qikuan star domain. Of course, many evolvers never imagined that after the upload of the 7th rank chapter, the martial path evolutionary path would surpass 1 or 2 8th layer evolution pathways. Because that was simply unrealistic. The transition from a 7th rank evolver to an 8th layer evolver involved a qualitative change. 8th layer evolvers, possessing an inner world and able to wield the power of a world with a mere gesture, could annihilate any number of 7th rank king evolvers. That was also why human civilization determined that as long as one was an 8th layer evolver, they could preside over a star domain and become a star lord. By comparison, the gap between a 7th rank evolution pathway and an 8th layer evolution pathway was even greater. Even the strongest 7th rank evolution pathway was still just a 7th rank evolutionary pathway, at best having a higher chance of advancing to an 8th layer evolution pathway. To compare with or even surpass a real 8th layer evolution pathway, how could that be possible? As the numerous evolvers debated in the Central Plaza area when the 7th rank chapter of the martial path evolutionary path would be uploaded, buzz. The time arrived at midnight. The Qikuan evolution rankings started an update. Whoosh. A few breaths later. Update completed. Many sharp-eyed evolvers noticed that the previously 6th-ranked martial path evolutionary path had now vanished. Haha, I said that the time to upload the 7th-ranked chapter of the martial path evolutionary path must be imminent, not too far off. Right, that's an evolutionary scholar after all, creating a 7th-ranked chapter of an evolutionary path. How difficult do you think that is? I am sure that this scholar who created the martial path evolutionary path, even among other evolutionary scholars, is a very powerful presence. After a few comments, the evolvers immediately looked up, eager to confirm how much the martial path evolutionary path had risen this time. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 374. Soon enough, evolvers were unable to find the martial path evolutionary path in the 4th or 5th spots and subconsciously looked up, only to see it ranked 2nd. In the blink of an eye, the Central Plaza area exploded into an uproar. Are you kidding me? Ranked 2nd? I remember the 2nd and 3rd evolutionary paths were both 8th layer paths, weren't they? Did the martial path evolutionary path surpass 2 8th layer paths? Could it be that the founder scholar has uploaded both the 7th rank chapter and 8th layer part? Otherwise, how could it possibly surpass the 8th layer evolution paths? No, I glanced at it just now, and at present, the highest rank for the martial path evolutionary path is only 7th rank. My God, a 7th rank evolution path ranking actually surpassed an 8th layer evolution path? Countless evolvers were full of disbelief, feeling as if their understanding of the world was beginning to shatter. How could a 7th rank evolution path, even if it were exceptional, possibly surpass the lofty 8th layer evolution paths that gave rise to 8th layer evolvers? I have purchased the Martial Path Evolutionary Path 7th rank chapter, and I really want to see what's in it that made the 3 goddesses rate it so highly. Me too, the 3 goddesses are absolutely impartial, they wouldn't act out of favoritism. If the Martial Path Evolutionary Path can surpass the 8th layer evolution paths, it definitely must have something outstandingly remarkable. One after another, evolvers began to purchase the 7th rank chapter to find out more. On Qikuan Main Star, Lin Yuan stepped out of the Grand Hall amidst the 13 peaks and strolled around leisurely. Before the red spirit fluid arrived, he had nothing to attend to. As for further contemplating the space models, continuing that would soon push Lin Yuan's ability to suppress the natural expansion of his inner world to its limits. Rewebno. C Sigma, why is everyone discussing the martial path evolutionary path? Lin Yuan raised an eyebrow as he noticed many members of the Red Kuan lineage were talking about the martial path evolutionary path. The Red Kuan lineage was the absolute ruler of the Qikuan star domain. Ordinary matters hardly affected its many members. Thus, even when the martial path evolutionary path broke into the Qikuan evolution rankings at 6th place with its 6th rank chapter, it only sparked a limited discussion within the Red Kuan lineage. But now, the discussions had escalated to a broad scale, and it was not just widespread debate but involved everyone. The Red Kuan lineage typically paid little attention to 7th rank evolution paths, even the strongest one. But the 8th layer paths, each new 8th layer path indicated the emergence of a great evolver scholar. What's more, this time the martial path evolutionary path, with its 7th rank level basis, forcibly inserted itself into the realm of the 8th layer paths. It was utterly inconceivable. In fact, it wasn't just the Qikuan star domain discussing this. Nearby star domains, and even the vast Anan Star Alliance, were abuzz with evolvers talking about it. In the Crimson Palace, the Qikuan Star Lord purchased the Martial Path Evolutionary Path 7th rank chapter. Then he began reading it meticulously. This evolutionary path does not constrain a specific direction but is based on the strengths of the evolver. It is indeed remarkable. The Qikuan Star Lord nodded slightly. Still, just on this merit alone, it wants to surpass the 8th layer evolution paths? The Qikuan Star Lord looked puzzled. If it relied only on popularity, it was virtually impossible to shake the status of the 8th layer evolution paths. No matter how many 7th rank evolvers there were, they couldn't compare to a single 8th layer evolver. Perhaps, there's something I'm not yet aware of? The Qikuan Star Lord mused to himself. The 7th rank chapter of the Martial Path Evolutionary Path offered evolvers an enormous range of path directions to choose from, touching not only on the basic rules but also on fundamental pillars. Unless the Qikuan Star Lord decided to walk the martial path evolutionary path from scratch, it would be hard for him to notice the subtleties within. Forget it, it's probably the masterpiece of some old geezer from the central star domain. If I can't understand it, there's no use in looking any further. With a slight shake of his head, the Qikuan Star Lord also thought the martial path evolutionary path originated from one of the great evolver scholars, perhaps even a high-ranking scholar from the central star domain. The thoughts of such lofty scholars were beyond even the Qikuan Star Lord's comprehension. However, why did my clever disciple request so much red spirit fluid? The Qikuan Star Lord's thoughts shifted as he pondered. The amount of red spirit fluid that Lin Yuan had requested surprised even the Qikuan Star Lord. It was enough for an ordinary 8th-layer peak evolver to practice for hundreds of years. For Lin Yuan, a 7th-rank evolver, to request so much red spirit fluid seemed pointless. Nevertheless, although the Qikuan Star Lord found Lin Yuan's request strange, he approved it immediately. The Qikuan Star Lord admitted to himself that it was difficult to guide the cultivation of a prodigy like Lin Yuan. If he couldn't give guidance, then he wouldn't try. He would simply agree to Lin Yuan's various requests. Where on earth would one need so much red spirit fluid? The Qikuan Star Lord wondered, mulling over the possibilities. Could it be for cultivating an inner world? The Qikuan Star Lord's eyes lit up. In the past, when Lin Yuan had broken through to the 7th rank, the Qikuan Star Lord faintly sensed spatial fluctuations coming from the depths of the 13 peaks where Lin Yuan was. At the time, the Qikuan Star Lord assumed Lin Yuan simply possessed some kind of spatial treasure. Indeed, if one had a rare spatial treasure, it was possible to attempt cultivating an inner world even before reaching the 7th rank peak. But even for cultivating an inner world, he wouldn't need this much red spirit fluid. The Qikuan Star Lord fell back into doubt. Whatever the case may be, he'll just pay closer attention for a while. After thinking for a moment, the Qikuan Star Lord resumed his practice. A few days later, Lin Yuan looked at the water jugs laid out before him. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 375. The red spirit fluid contained within could certainly be described as a massive amount. It's finally been delivered. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Time to begin expanding the inner world. Lin Yuan let out a sigh of relief, the commotion caused by the expansion of the inner world this time. I'm afraid it won't be easy to conceal, it suddenly occurred to Lin Yuan. When breaking through to the 7th rank, the inner world Lin Yuan had created was only 10 miles in radius. With Lin Yuan's grasp of power and deductions through his against heaven's understanding, it was enough to conceal his actions from ordinary 8th-layer evolvers, who wouldn't notice a thing. But next, the inner world of Lin Yuan was about to expand to more than 10,000 miles in radius. Such a great disturbance would be hard to suppress. If left unchecked, it would alarm the entire Qikuan main star. With that in mind, Lin Yuan immediately contacted the Qikuan Star Lord. Teacher, I need your help to cover up my next cultivation practice. Lin Yuan's consciousness connected to the virtual world and arrived at the teacher's crimson-colored palace, where he was in seclusion. To the Qikuan Star Lord, Lin Yuan didn't need to hide anything after all. This was his own teacher, and the Star Lord must surely be aware of the substantial amount of red spirit fluid he had requested before. Cover it up? The Qikuan Star Lord looked at his disciple, a smile appearing on his face. Not bad, my good disciple knows to talk to his teacher about things. Even if Lin Yuan hadn't said anything, the Qikuan Star Lord would have paid extra attention during this period. If Lin Yuan were truly opening up an inner world as the Qikuan Star Lord suspected, he would definitely help to conceal the disturbance. But Lin Yuan taking the initiative to speak up still put the Qikuan Star Lord in a good mood. Is it related to the inner world? Although the Qikuan Star Lord already had his suspicions, he still asked one more question. Yes. Lin Yuan hesitated for a moment, then nodded and said. Inwardly he was quite emotional. It was no wonder his teacher was an invincible being of the 8th layer. All his little secrets were probably seen through already. Very well. The Qikuan Star Lord was overjoyed upon receiving confirmation from Lin Yuan. Generally, only when an evolver was at the 7th rank peak and about to make the push for the 8th rank, with a sufficient foundation built up, would they attempt to open up an inner world. Now that Lin Yuan, still at the 7th rank, was attempting to open up an inner world, even by the standards of the Anan Star Alliance, it would be considered an exceptional feat. What the Qikuan Star Lord didn't know was that Lin Yuan had actually begun carving out his inner world while at the 6th rank. Go ahead. No matter the commotion. Your teacher will cover for you. The Qikuan Star Lord waved his hand grandly and said, "Thank you, teacher." Lin Yuan expressed his gratitude somewhat emotionally. After Lin Yuan left, the Qikuan Star Lord grew curious. I wonder how many miles my obedient disciple's inner world will reach? 1 mile in radius? 3 miles or 5 miles? The Qikuan Star Lord pondered silently. Even a 7th rank peak evolver typically had an inner world with a radius of only 10 miles, and it was not until stepping into the 8th rank that their inner world would suddenly surge to 100 miles. As for Lin Yuan, who wasn't even at the 7th rank peak, the inner world he carved out would typically not exceed 5 miles in radius. Well, see. The Qikuan Star Lord looked in the direction of the 13 peaks. Being on the Qikuan main star, he was able to intervene instantly anywhere. With my teacher guaranteeing safety, I can begin. Lin Yuan's consciousness entered his inner world, starting to release the suppression. Boom boom boom. At the world's edge, space began to shatter, a great deal of spatial force converged, continuously deriving and enlarging the inner world. Outside, bottle after bottle of the red spirit fluid merged into Lin Yuan's body, serving as an energy supplement for the expansion of the inner world. Boom boom boom. As the inner world expanded wildly, threads of world force still leaked out beyond Lin Yuan's control. Faintly above Lin Yuan, a colossal world shadow began to form. The world shadow was vast and boundless, and in the blink of an eye, it surpassed 10,000 miles. 20,000 miles. 30,000 miles. 50,000 miles. Inside the Crimson Palace, the Qikuan Star Lord was constantly monitoring the activity at the 13 peaks. When faint traces of spatial force and world force fluctuations reached the top of the 13 peaks, a smile couldn't help but appear on the Qikuan Star Lord's face. Lin Yuan's opening of an inner world before reaching the 7th rank peak indicated an extremely powerful talent and aptitude, and as his teacher, how could the Qikuan Star Lord not be delighted? 3 miles or 5 miles, closely observing the fluctuations formed by the escaping spatial force and world force, the Qikuan Star Lord reasoned from his experience that the size of the world shadow formed by these forces escaping was equivalent to the actual size of the inner world. The next instant, the Qikuan Star Lord's eyes widened. This is not good. The Qikuan Star Lord disappeared in a flash. In an instant he arrived before the 13 peaks, then raised his right hand. The heavens and earth transformed, and this area was directly severed from the Qikuan main star. Boom boom boom. The enormous world shadow rapidly swelled. The Qikuan Star Lord looked up at the world shadow that had reached 80,000, 90,000 miles, momentarily at a loss for words. My good disciple, isn't your inner world a little too big? The Qikuan Star Lord looked down at the 13 peaks below, then raised his eyes toward the vast world shadow, now nearing 100,000 miles, and began to doubt himself. Was his obedient disciple really at the 7th rank or the 8th? If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 376 Qikuan Main Star, Central Continent. 13 peaks. From the outside, this peak looked no different from usual. But in reality, this area had already been isolated by the Qikuan Star Lord using some method, and had been stripped from the original Qikuan main star. With the power of the Qikuan Star Lord, carrying out these actions went unnoticed by any of the evolvers on the main star. And all the evolvers within the isolated area had fallen into a deep slumber, unable to sense the vast changes in the outside world. The The surging forces of the world and space continued unabated. The huge world illusion continued to expand rapidly, showing no signs of stopping even after reaching over 100,000 li. The Qikuan Star Lord stood alone in the void, silently watching the world illusion above. Exaggerated. It was indeed too exaggerated. The Qikuan Star Lord originally had high expectations for Lin Yuan. He thought that his clever disciple, before reaching the peak of the 7th rank, might be able to forge an inner world of about 3 to 5 li in radius. But what about the reality? The world illusion now was nearly 110,000 li. How could it differ by tens of thousands of times compared to before? An inner world with a radius of 110,000 li meant little to the Qikuan Star Lord. The Starry Sky Wanderer Kuan, a pinnacle lineage of cosmic bloodline, nurtured a small world within it from birth, and once it reached the 6th rank as an adult, the inner world could easily be several tens of li. Upon advancing to the 7th rank, the inner world would directly expand to several tens of thousands of li. Upon freshly advancing to the 8th rank, Qikuan Star Lord's inner world had surpassed 1,000,000 li. But these were the Starry Sky Wanderer Kuns, the favorites of the cosmic space origin, born with their own small worlds, a part of their innate talents. What about Lin Yuan? He was merely a human who, at the 7th rank, had managed to nurture an inner world surpassing 100,000 li. This was simply. The thoughts of the Qikuan Star Lord fluctuated. Are you the Starry Sky Wanderer Kuan, or am I? The size of the inner world primarily depends on the understanding of the space rules, the Qikuan Star Lord thought to himself. The reason why Starry Sky Wanderer Kuns come with their own inner worlds is because these special beings begin to understand the space rules from birth, comprehending 965 basic spatial models. Additionally, some core spatial models are also on the verge of being fully comprehended. This is a huge advantage of being a favorite of the cosmic space origin. Even when compared with cosmic rarities like the world fruit and other forces forcibly forging an inner world. The size of the initial inner world could only be a few hundred to 1,000 li at most. After that, if one wants to further expand the inner world, they must advance in their comprehension of the space rules. Lin Yuan's inner world now being at least 100,000 li was something no cosmic rarity can achieve. It could only be accomplished through one's own accumulation in the space rules. An inner world with a radius of 100,000 li, at least 1,000 core space rules must be comprehended to achieve such a feat. My disciple, didn't he just comprehend the basic spatial models recently? The Qikuan Star Lord suddenly felt a sense of powerlessness. Lin Yuan's talent and comprehension were terrifyingly impressive. How long had passed, and he had achieved such accomplishments in the core spatial models? Under 100 years old, comprehending 1,000 core space rules, this can only be achieved by that handful of people even in the entire Cosmic Human Alliance, if starting from scratch, not using any external objects. I estimate no evolver genius of the contemporary age could compare with my disciple, the Qikuan Star Lord thought silently to himself. In the central star domain and some other powerful star domains, genius evolvers have a high starting point, receiving numerous resources even before birth. Or like the Qikuan Star Lord himself, who seized the body of some terrifyingly talented special being, instantly elevating his starting point immensely. Many fortuitous encounters. Many resources funneled their way. Barely managed to create some evolver geniuses comparable to Lin Yuan of the current era. If one were to disregard those fortuitous encounters and the funneling of resources, Lin Yuan's natural talent would definitely be unmatched among the young generation of human civilization. The expansion speed of the world illusion has slowed down. The Qikuan Star Lord felt a slight relief. An inner world exceeding 100,000 li in radius was nearly approaching the inner world of an evolver at the peak of the 8th rank. Deep within the Grand Hall. With each breath Lin Yuan took, the power of the world overflowed. It finally stopped. Lin Yuan, conscious within his inner world, looked at the vast world spanning 120,000 li in radius, a smile forming on his face. Compared to the small world of 10 li radius previously, the current world of 120,000 li radius was almost equivalent to the size of over 10 Kanglan stars. I can feel that the inner world could still expand a bit more, but due to the limitations of the physical soul, it stopped at 120,000 li. Lin Yuan thought to himself. The size of an evolver's inner world mainly depends on two aspects. One is the individual's physical soul, which is the foundation that carries the inner world. If the physical soul is too weak, no matter how high one's spatial comprehension is, the inner world cannot expand very much. Lin Yuan, whose path of martial Tao evolution emphasized the body and whose soul had transformed into a primordial spirit, was equally powerful, thereby enabling him to sustain an inner world of 120,000 li in radius. The second is the comprehension of space. Now, Lin Yuan distinctly felt that his understanding of space had exceeded the limits of the physical body. It doesn't matter much. Such a vast inner world, nurturing the power of the world, virtually enhances my physical soul every moment. Lin Yuan closed his eyes, feeling the world's power flowing through him like a stream, nourishing his physical soul through his limbs and body. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 377. I am now a king of the 7th rank, but with such a vast inner world, ordinary 8th layer evolvers wouldn't stand a chance against me, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Even upon reaching the 8th layer, he would master many of the methods exclusive to 8th layer evolvers, but Lin Yuan's inner world was so vast, its worldly power so immense, that he could overpower craftiness with brute strength. Unless someone had an inner world of the same tier, facing Lin Yuan, they could only flee. Next, I should try to break through to the 8th layer. Before that, I should strengthen my spirit will as much as possible, to better face the heart demon tribulation. Lin Yuan's goal was clear. With his current foundation, if not for the heart demon tribulation, he could easily break through now. To enhance spirit will, the common approach of human civilization is to experience more, to simply live on. But this is just the common way. There are many other methods that can fortify the strength of one's spirit will. Although Lin Yuan could take a shortcut to pass the heart demon tribulation with the help of the door to the myriad realms, such a method was not secure. Even if Lin Yuan used it, he would wait until he was confident enough to attempt it. Try casually? To undergo the heart demon tribulation without preparation. If the door to the myriad realms couldn't isolate the heart demon, wouldn't it be seeking death? How to pass the heart demon tribulation is of utmost importance to human evolvers. Once the heart demon tribulation is failed, death is certain, with no chance for resurrection. Because the essence of the heart demon tribulation stems from one's own spirit, even if a supreme being intervened, forcefully resuscitating the body, one would still be in the state of undergoing the heart demon tribulation. By then, death would still ensue. Because you cannot pass through it. Even if a supreme being intervened, they could save your physical soul or even true spirit consciousness, but they couldn't dispel the heart demon. The heart demon is still there, and as long as you can't get through it, you will die no matter how many times you are resurrected. In front of one's own heart demon, even the offspring of supreme beings are equal to all living beings. It's about time. I should go out and see my teacher now. Lin Yuan's insight into the space rules had long alerted him to the fact that the space outside had been completely isolated from normal space, probably due to the Qikuan Star Lord's actions to conceal the expansion of his inner world. The reason Lin Yuan asked the Qikuan Star Lord to help conceal it was that, even though opening an inner world at the 7th rank was astonishing and defied the heavens in the eyes of the outside world, even more so because the fluctuations of the inner world Lin Yuan had just revealed were far from being as simple as a newly opened inner world. So it was better to keep it concealed if possible. There was no choice. The experiences on the battlefields of different races had made Lin Yuan wary. If it were a normal breakthrough, even to the 8th layer, Lin Yuan would not have been so cautious, but possessing an inner world that spanned more than 100,000 miles at the 7th rank was indeed unimaginable. Stepping out of the Great Hall, Lin Yuan saw that the Qikuan Star Lord had been waiting for a long time. Is everything all right? The Qikuan Star Lord looked at Lin Yuan and asked. Everything is fine. Lin Yuan nodded. My good disciple, you really do surprise me. The Qikuan Star Lord shook his head, his tone filled with emotion. What level have you reached in your understanding of the core space models? The Qikuan Star Lord continued to inquire. Core space models. Lin Yuan knew he couldn't hide from the Qikuan Star Lord and told the truth, not quite 1200. In fact, if it weren't for the last 200 years in the Tianqing world, where Lin Yuan had given up on comprehending the space rules, he estimated the number of core space models he could have understood might have reached 1500. 1200, not yet, the Qikuan Star Lord sighed. This remark seemed somewhat deflated. Teacher, I've recently found that the deeper I go, the slower the comprehension of core space models becomes, and the more often I hit bottlenecks, Lin Yuan immediately said. The Qikuan Star Lord fell silent. It's normal. The Qikuan Star Lord couldn't help but say. For you to grasp 1200 core space models at this age, it's already rare, extremely rare. The Qikuan Star Lord said softly, if it weren't confirmed by the three goddesses, I would doubt whether you had been subjected to seizure by one of the alien strong ones. Lin Yuan smiled. Seizure? Indeed, like the Qikuan Star Lord who could seize the starry sky wanderer Kuan, other alien strong ones could also seize human evolvers. However, Lin Yuan's soul, having been verified repeatedly by the three goddesses, belonged to humans beyond doubt and was not of a different species. You have too powerful a talent for perception. The Qikuan Star Lord finally voiced his own feelings. For the longest time, the Qikuan Star Lord was described by others in such terms, since with the body of the starry sky wanderer Kuan, the Qikuan Star Lord's understanding of the space rules had always been peerless. I might just be lucky, Riwabno. Sigmam Lin Yuan said. Can luck always be on your side? The Qikuan Star Lord shook his head. However, now that you have created your inner world, the next focus should be on the spirit will. The Qikuan Star Lord's expression became slightly more solemn. For an ultimate genius evolver like Lin Yuan, there was a greater possibility of stumbling over the spirit will in the heart demon tribulation. Because everything had gone too smoothly in the beginning, without the slightest setback, one might subconsciously think little of the heart demon tribulation. After all, from 7th to 8th layer, it is widely acknowledged that creating the inner world is the hardest part, and even the most ordinary evolver can possibly overcome the heart demon tribulation. However, once this thought arose, problems could surface. In the over 2 million years of the Starry Sea era, countless evolving genius talents had fallen at the heart demon tribulation. I know. Lin Yuan nodded. He had never underestimated the heart demon tribulation. Although it's difficult to measure spirit will, over the many years, our human civilization has still summarized a set of standards to roughly estimate it, and I will send them to you later. The Qikuan Star Lord said. This set of standards, even within the Human Civilization Alliance, is considered top secret, as it could easily be applied by different species. Therefore, only a star domain master like the Qikuan Star Lord possessed the specifics, which Lin Yuan could not see in either the virtual world or the Qikuan treasury. After seeing off the Qikuan Star Lord, Lin Yuan returned to the Great Hall. Inner world. Lin Yuan was getting acquainted with the power of the inner time. After all, his inner world, which had expanded explosively to a radius of 120,000 li, was filled with the vast world power. Someone's looking for me? Lin Yuan opened his eyes and accessed the virtual panel. Phone. Lin Yuan connected his consciousness to the virtual world. Soon, a red-nosed old man appeared. It was his good friend from the virtual world founders circle. Feng. It was Feng who had helped him at the Annan Star Alliance conference, trading away his voting rights. Brother San, the Star Alliance conference is approaching. Don't forget to attend, the red-nosed Feng said with a laugh. Of course. Lin Yuan nodded. He had received benefits from the Wang Yue Starfield, so naturally he wouldn't forget. As for the threat from Jin Tianzhao of the Golden Dragon Star Domain, Lin Yuan didn't take it to heart at all. Let alone Jin Tianzhao, even the Golden Dragon Star Master wouldn't dare to act against a 6th-level citizen. Lin Yuan chatted with the red-nosed Feng for a while. Then he disconnected from the virtual world and his consciousness returned to reality. Speaking of which, I now have enough merit points to upgrade to a 7th level citizen, Lin Yuan thought to himself. From 6th level to 7th level citizen, 2 million merit points are needed. Lin Yuan had thought that this was a far-off goal, one that would take several journeys to accumulate enough points. Yet, just one journey and uploading the 7th rank chapter had earned him 3 million merit points. The main reason was that the 7th rank chapter involved creating the inner world and was highly rated by the 3 goddesses. Let's upgrade. Lin Yuan's mind stirred slightly. In an instant, more than 3 million merit points in Lin Yuan's account decreased by 2 million. At the same time, Lin Yuan's citizen rank was upgraded from the original 6th level to 7th level. 7th level citizen. Lin Yuan's spirit shook slightly. One should know that ordinary 8th layer evolvers hadn't reached the 7th level citizen rank, as merit points were not that easy to accumulate. Before Lin Yuan could reflect further, a series of emails from the Central Star Domain arrived, introducing the many privileges of a 7th level citizen. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 378, These Privileges. Lin Yuan meticulously perused the email sent from the Central Star Domain. Every time Lin Yuan's citizen rank was promoted, he would receive blessings and introductions from the Central Star Domain. Compared to a 6th level citizen, the added privileges and benefits of a 7th level citizen were not many, but each was significant. Firstly, every 7th level citizen would receive a 7th rank evolution elixir and a 7th rank longevity elixir gifted by the Central Star Domain. The 7th rank evolution elixir was similar in use to the 6th rank evolution elixir. After consumption, it could promote one's physical soul to the 7th layer without any sequelae. Of course, this promotion referred only to a basic improvement. The abilities such as the understanding of rules that a 7th rank evolver realized were absent. The reason Central Star Domain did this was considering that many 7th level citizens perhaps were not high in evolutive talent. Throughout their lives, they might never be able to train up to the 5th or 6th rank. And the evolution elixir was to make up for this deficiency. Although lacking in understanding of rules, reaching the 7th layer could at least explode their lifespan to over 100,000 years. Plus, with the 7th rank longevity elixir, each 7th level citizen, regardless of how poor their evolutionary talent, could live between 200,000 to 300,000 years. Human civilization takes each 7th level citizen very seriously, hoping they live longer. This is also seen as a way to repay their contributions to human civilization, and perhaps those who live longer might be able to contribute even more? 7th rank evolution elixir, huh? Lin Yuan felt a slight emotion. Such an elixir that could promote a person to the 7th layer without any risk was coveted by countless major powers and noble families. Not for themselves, but for their beloved kin or favored offspring and so forth. Unfortunately, so far, only the official human civilization could provide a stable supply of such evolution elixirs. As for other powers, the strength-enhancing elixirs they provided typically had some risks or hidden dangers. Automatically become a counselor of the Anan Star Alliance? Lin Yuan looked at the second privilege of a 7th level citizen. Anan Star Alliance, belonging to the Qikuan Star Domain, covers hundreds of surrounding star domains. Although the Anan Star Alliance doesn't have absolute command over the Qikuan Star Lord, it still has some degree of authority over its jurisdiction. Being able to become a counselor of the Anan Star Alliance is without exception a position held by absolute major figures, at the level of the Qikuan Star Lord, Golden Dragon Star Master. A typical star domain's Star Lord couldn't possibly amass 2 million merit points to elevate to a 7th level citizen rank. Currently, the Anan Star Alliance has 56 counselors, of whom 31 have concealed their identities, and the other 25 are well-known giants within many star domains. As a Star Alliance counselor, one has the power of veto. If one deems there's an issue in any dispute, it can be vetoed, awaiting the next Star Alliance Congress to reconvene and discuss anew. This power of veto can be used up to 3 times on the same issue, and after 3 times, it can no longer be applied. Lin Yuan glanced over the powers of a Star Alliance counselor. This mainly prevents any counselor from being unreasonably obstinate, but even so, it's quite astounding. Of course, the three goddesses granted the Star Alliance counselors such power because the debates that occur in the Star Alliance Congress generally have no significant impact on the grand scheme of human civilization. Or they do not touch upon any core or baseline issues related to human civilization. No matter who wins or loses, the result is more or less the same. Beyond the aforementioned, a 7th-level citizen also has the right to permanently reside in the Central Star Domain, to request a guard troop led by an 8th-layer evolver, the highest court pleading rights, among others. Lin Yuan meticulously reviewed it several times. With the status of a 7th-level citizen, if Lin Yuan were to apply for a position with the Goddess of Wisdom, he would at least be a governor on some main stars of the Central Star Domain, with high authority and weight. The position of a governor on a main star in the Central Star Domain is far superior in status compared to that of the Kanglan Star Governor, not even on the same level. Even some 8th-layer evolvers very much desire to hold the position of a governor in the main star of the Central Star Domain, not just for the status but also as a stable channel for earning merit points. Unfortunately, I'm not really interested in management. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. The position of a governor requires spending considerable time on planetary management, generally appealing only to those 8th-layer evolvers stuck at a bottleneck. But for Lin Yuan at present, it's the golden period for training, and opening up the 8th-layer part of the martial path evolutionary path would be far better than any position as a governor. Respected 7th-level citizen Lin Yuan, would you like to hide your 7th-level citizen identity? The solemn and cool voice of the Goddess of Wisdom came through. After becoming a 7th-level citizen, Lin Yuan's information would automatically appear on the counselor list of the Anan Star Alliance. To protect the privacy of citizens, every 7th-level citizen has the option to conceal their identity. Currently, of the 56 counselors in the Anan Star Alliance, 31 have concealed their identities. Conceal it? Lin Yuan nodded. After concealing the citizen identity, the information displayed on the counselor list would be a code name preset by Lin Yuan. That is Shursan. Choosing the code name Shursan was an arbitrary decision by Lin Yuan, and he had no concerns about his real identity being exposed. The Anan Star Alliance encompasses hundreds of star domains and over 1 billion life planets, and there are countless things related to Shursan. Even the top divination masters, without a god's perspective, wouldn't associate Shursan with Lin Yuan. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 379. The two were not even on the same track. One was an evolver genius, the other the founder of an evolution path, each excelling in distinctly different fields. Anan Star Alliance official website. Suddenly, without any noise, an additional name appeared in the 57th position on the list of counselors. Shursan. This change immediately drew the attention of numerous evolvers and higher-level citizens. What? Our Anan Star Alliance has a new counselor? Identity hidden. I don't even know which star domain that 7th-level citizen is from. Need you ask? It must be someone from our star domain. Only your star domain can produce 7th-level citizens? Many evolvers discussed this heatedly. Under the long years of the Anan Star Alliance, there were only 56 counselors in total, so the sudden appearance of another one naturally sparked much curiosity. But for most evolvers, it was just a topic of curious gossip for a while. After all, Star Alliance counselors, they are too far removed from them, such high and mighty figures, where one might not even find one across dozens of star domains, are simply beyond their reach. Shursan. Feng had just taken a sip of fine wine when he clicked on a link sent by a friend, looked at it, and nearly spat out the wine in his mouth. Damn, isn't this a coincidence? Feng found it hard to believe, recalling that he had a friend also named Shursan. It can't be. Feng hurriedly contacted Lin Yuan. Personal space. Lin Yuan sat back leisurely in a recliner, listening to the sound of the creaks surrounding him. Brother Shursan, I just saw on the list of counselors, there's an additional name, Shi Feng asked with a tense voice. This matter was too incredible, and although it was highly likely a coincidence, he still had to confirm it. It should be me. Lin Yuan said casually, no need to hide once becoming an Anon Star Alliance counselor, as long as he did not expose his true identity. After all, once becoming a counselor, many benefits of the Anon Star Alliance would naturally come to him, unless Lin Yuan intended to forego these benefits. Ultimately, he would have to interact with the outside world as Shi. Really, Shi, brother? No, Lord Shi? Shi Feng stared dumbfounded. Even though he had speculated as much before coming, it still seemed unbelievable. Had he, Shi Feng, been previously addressing a lofty counselor as a brother? Let us sit and talk. Lin Yuan gestured with his hand. Yes. Shi Feng was far from relaxed. If Lin Yuan were only a 6th-level citizen, he could still joke and laugh, but 7th-level citizens were a completely different class. 99.99% of 6th-level citizens will never become 7th-level citizens in their lifetimes. This includes those at the 8th layer. Lord Shi, Shi Feng was about to speak. Suddenly his expression changed, he paused for a few breaths, then cautiously said, People from the Wang Lin starfield have found me, asking if Lord Shi is the Star Alliance counselor. The Anon Star Alliance official website, open to all citizens, a change in the counselors was a significant event for the Star Domain elites as it could impact the future structure of the Star Alliance. Since the new name of the counselor matched Lin Yuan's alias, people from the Wang Lin starfield immediately reached out to Shi Feng for confirmation. Tell them. Lin Yuan said nonchalantly. Yes. Shi Feng responded respectfully. Lord Shi, people from the Wang Lin starfield would like to meet you, Shi Feng ventured. Let's meet. Lin Yuan nodded. Moments later, a middle-aged man with a stern face arrived. It was the Star Lord of the Wang Lin starfield. The Wang Lin starfield was not a particularly powerful star domain, and its Star Lord was merely an ordinary 8th-layer evolver. Lord Shi. The Wang Lin starfield's attitude was slightly respectful. No matter Lin Yuan's actual abilities, as long as he could become a 7th-level citizen, his status could rival those peak 8th-layer evolvers, making addressing him as Lord quite appropriate. What is it? Lin Yuan looked at the Wang Lin Star Lord. Previously, my Wang Lin starfield and Lord had a deal. Should you vote for my starfield, you would receive compensation. Now it appears, my starfield neglected to provide sufficient compensation, the Wang Lin Star Lord quickly stated. Oh. Too little? Lin Yuan seemed to smile. The Wang Lin Star Lord was rather sensible. The conditions previously offered targeted the 6th-level citizen Lin Yuan. Now that Lin Yuan was a 7th-level citizen, should the Wang Lin starfield play dumb, Lin Yuan would merely vote simply, doing nothing else. Star Alliance counselors also possess voting power, with each counselor's vote equal to 10 of a 6th-level citizens. Right. In comparison with Lord Shi-san's status, it was too little. Freeweb novel. Calm the Wang Lin Star Lord said, Lord Shi-san must be aware of the disputes between my Wang Lin starfield and the Golden Dragon Star domain. I know a bit. Lin Yuan nodded. The issues between Wang Lin starfield and Golden Dragon Star domain stemmed from a resource planet. The border area between Wang Lin starfield and Golden Dragon Star domain was a swath of space dotted with many dead stars. What is a dead star? It is neither suitable for human habitation nor possesses any resources. Such worthless planets are known as dead stars. Within the cosmic starry sky, such dead stars are most abundant. And whether it's a dead star or a normal life planet, none are static. Instead, they slowly move their locations, following the many gravitational forces within the cosmic starry sky. Among them was a dead star, moving from the border area between the Golden Dragon Star domain and Wang Lin starfield into the Wang Lin starfield. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 380 Afterward, people from the Wang Lin starfield came to investigate and were shocked to find that this dead star was a resource planet containing precious resources. Its value was immense, being fully mined. It was worth at least 10,000 cubic universe crystals. This attracted the attention of the Golden Dragon Star domain. Evolvers from the Golden Dragon lineage argued that since the dead star had once been located at the border area between two star domains, it should be jointly managed by both, with them wanting to take 80% of the profits. The Wang star field naturally disagreed. As the dead star had drifted into their territory, it naturally belonged to them. The two sides then began to argue. The Star Lord of the Golden Dragon Star domain, taking advantage of his wide network, proactively applied for this issue to be discussed at the Star Alliance conference, and we from the Wang star field could only keep inviting other 7th-level citizens, the Star Lord of Wang said in a low voice. The Wang star field is willing to pay 2,000 universe crystals to ask Lord Xianxia to veto this matter and delay it as much as possible. The Star Lord of Wang revealed his purpose. The reason for the delay is because the resources of the resource planet can be collected. The longer the delay, the more resources the evolvers of the Wang star field can collect. If they can delay past the Star Alliance conference and before the next one arrives, the Wang star field is confident of collecting 70% of the resources. 2,000 universe crystals. Lin Yuan's expression remained unchanged. This remuneration was already considerable, as the legacy left by the 8th-layer evolutionist Oin contained only 1,000 cubic universe crystals. 2,000 universe crystals was already considered to be half a fortune for a seasoned 8th-layer evolutionist. If Lord Xianxia thinks it's too low, then make it 3,000 universe crystals. The Star Lord of Wang said through clenched teeth. Even if they successfully collected 70% of the resources, it would be worth approximately 7,000 universe crystals. Subtracting various costs, the Wang star field would at most acquire about 6,000 universe crystals. Giving Lin Yuan 3,000 universe crystals was already very sincere. No problem. Lin Yuan nodded. Thank you, Lord Xianxia. The Star Lord of Wang sighed deeply with relief internally. There are a total of 56 counselors in the Anan Star Alliance. Excluding those who rarely show their faces, there are only about 10 or so who regularly participate in the Star Alliance conference. And these 10 or so, the Star Lord of Wang couldn't invite a single one, either because they didn't want to offend the Golden Dragon Star Lord or for other reasons. Golden Dragon Star Domain. Golden Dragon Main Star. The Golden Dragon Star Lord sat on his golden throne, his consciousness connected to the virtual world. An extra counselor in the Anan Star Alliance? Codename Xianxia? Why does this Xianxia sound so familiar? The Golden Dragon Star Lord, what a being he was, after a bit of careful thought, confirmed that Xianxia shared a name with the mysterious 7th-level citizen that Jin Tianzhao had up front offended. The same name. The Golden Dragon Star Lord thought for a moment and immediately started to inquire. It's not a coincidence. This new counselor is that Xianxia. The Golden Dragon Star Lord immediately sensed trouble, as if Lin Yuan were only a 6th-level citizen he could be disregarded, but a 7th-level citizen, how many are there in the whole Anan Star Alliance? The reason the Golden Dragon Star Lord had previously ignored Lin Yuan was because he thought it would be many years before Lin Yuan could become a 7th-level citizen. Did it happen so soon? This Jin Tianzhao, always not making things easy for me, casually offended a 7th-level citizen? The Golden Dragon Star Lord's brow furrowed tightly, and he immediately summoned Jin Tianzhao. Did the master call for me? Jin Tianzhao had just finished his retreat and had received the summons from the Golden Dragon Star Lord. What's the matter? The master's tone doesn't sound good? Jin Tianzhao was somewhat nervous as he approached the grand hall of the Golden Dragon Star Lord. Jin Tianzhao. The Golden Dragon Star Lord looked down at Jin Tianzhao. What have you done, Frubno? Come if you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 381. Teacher, Jin Tianzhao connected to the virtual network and immediately learned why the Golden Dragon Star Master was so dissatisfied. To think that casting the vote for that 6th-level citizen from the Wang star field, He actually got promoted to a 7th-level citizen and became the 57th member of the Anan Star Alliance? Jin Tianzhao's eyes widened. He indeed had reservations about whether Lin Yuan would become a 7th-level citizen one day, but he hadn't expected that day to come so soon. That was a 7th-level citizen. Not some common vegetable on the roadside. To be promoted just like that? How did he gather 2 million merit points so quickly? That Shifeng, he was misleading me, saying stuff like, Shirsan is not over 1,000 years old, it's all fake, all of it. Jin Tianzhao was filled with grief and indignation. Although he was proud by nature, he wouldn't offend a senior 6th-level citizen for no reason. A senior 6th-level citizen not only has a stable network of connections, but more importantly, you have no idea how much groundwork and merit points the other party has accumulated. At the time, Jin Tianzhao found Lin Yuan unfamiliar, thinking the latter must have just been promoted to a 6th-level citizen, without much foundation. So his attitude was slightly stronger, since a newly promoted 6th-level citizen really wasn't much in the face of the Golden Dragon Star domain. When Jin Tianzhao reported to the Golden Dragon Star Master at first, the latter did not care too much. Who could have thought that this Shirsan was actually so low-key that he might have almost gathered 2 million merit points when he was being threatened by himself? But the other party didn't say a word. Teacher, what should we do now? After a moment of silence, Jin Tianzhao quickly asked. Now, holding someone accountable was meaningless. What mattered was how to mend the relationship with that member. While the Golden Dragon Star Master was also a 7th-level member, he certainly wasn't foolish enough to want to make an enemy of the same level without good cause. How much is that resource dead star worth in survey value? The Golden Dragon Star Master inquired. He also knew about the dispute with the Wangyue star field and had tacitly approved it. After all, the strength of the Wangyue star field, no matter how you looked at it, was far less than that of the Golden Dragon Star domain. As long as the actions of his disciples conformed to the laws of human civilization, the Golden Dragon Star Master wouldn't question them further. Teacher, that resource dead star, if fully mined, would yield resources roughly equivalent to 11,000 cosmic crystals. Jin Tianzhao immediately said. 11,000 cosmic crystals? Just give it up, present it to the Wangyue star field. After pondering for a while, the Golden Dragon Star Master stated directly. It wasn't worth it to offend a 7th-level citizen over a mere 11,000 cosmic crystals. And whether the Golden Dragon Star domain could ultimately take over that resource dead star was another matter altogether. If Lin Yuan used his Star Alliance members' veto power, he could drag the matter out, giving the Wangyue starfield plenty of time to mine, drastically reducing the final profit for the Golden Dragon Star domain. Given these circumstances, it was better to take the initiative to give it up. It also showed goodwill towards that 7th-level citizen. Give it up? Well, Jin Tianzhao felt a twinge of pain. Originally, according to the plan, the Golden Dragon Star domain would obtain at least 70% of the income from that resource dead star, which is about 7 or 8,000 cosmic crystals. These cosmic crystals, the Golden Dragon Star Master might not care much about, but his disciples were quite eager for them. Also, prepare a congratulatory gift to be sent to that member. The value of the gift should be around 1,000 cosmic crystals. Remember, you deliver the gift. Don't say too much, don't do too much, just deliver it and then return, the Golden Dragon Star Master instructed after some thought. Should I apologize? Jin Tianzhao cautiously inquired. The gift is enough. Apologizing proactively is too deliberate and could backfire. The Golden Dragon Star Master shook his head and said. Yes, Frueval. Calm Jin Tianzhao responded immediately. Chikuan Main Star. Deep within the 13 Peaks Great Hall. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. Mental Will Index. Lin Yuan carefully read the document sent by his teacher, the Chikuan Star Lord. The spirit will of life is not necessarily linked to one's strength. Of course, the stronger one is, the correspondingly higher the spirit will can be, but if one is not strong, it doesn't mean their spirit will is low. Spirit will is related to one's life experiences and insights. Over more than 2 million years in the Starry Sea, the evolutionary scholars of human civilization who studied the spirit, based on numerous cases of 7th and 8th layer evolvers from past generations, categorized spirit will into an index ranging from 1 to 10,000. This is the mental will index. Only when the mental will index reaches 10,000 does one have the certainty to pass the heart demon tribulation. Of course, it's not that one cannot go through the heart demon tribulation if the mental will index isn't 10,000, but evolvers whose mental will index reaches 10,000 generally can ascend to 8 layers smoothly. There are also evolvers with a mental will index less than 10,000 who have passed the heart demon tribulation, but such cases are uncommon and cannot be regarded as the general rule. Mental will index. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Normally, an evolver who has just entered the 7th rank has a mental will index of 1. Afterward, with continuous practice and more experiences, the mental will index gradually increases. Without deliberately training one's mental will index, even a 7th rank king's index would be at most in the hundreds. Let's see what my mental will index is. Lin Yuan connected his consciousness to the virtual world. Since the concept of the mental will index was created, there naturally existed a method to measure it. Lin Yuan went to his personal space and directly requested the goddess of wisdom to measure his mental will index. Whoosh! In an instant, Lin Yuan found himself inside a spacious white room. Everywhere was a blank white expanse. Respected 7th level citizen Lin Yuan, without using any physical soul power, just with your own spirit consciousness, strike the surroundings. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 382. The solemn and cool voice of the goddess of wisdom was heard. Use only your spirit will to strike out in all directions. Lin Yuan appeared thoughtful, realizing that spirit will is also a form of attack, such as when Lin Yuan's gaze lingers on a 6th rank evolver for an extended time. Even without mobilizing any power, the other party would break out in a cold sweat, scalp tingling, unable to control themselves. This is the advantage of having a powerful spirit will. Begin. Lin Yuan closed his eyes. His massive spirit will began to strike out in every direction. The invisible fluctuations swept through, and if there were any 5th or 6th rank evolvers present, they would probably be so intimidated that they couldn't even get off their knees. A moment later, Lin Yuan ceased releasing his spirit will. What is my mental will index? Lin Yuan opened his eyes to check the results. Respected 7th level citizen Lin Yuan, after testing, your current mental will index is approximately around 7848. 7848. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. A normal 7th rank king who hasn't undergone special training for their spirit will usually has an index in the hundreds. But Lin Yuan was clearly not a normal 7th rank king. Whether it was the vast inner world that emerged within him, the nurturing of the world's power on his physical soul and spirit will, or the 6 traversals and the baptism of more than 1,000 years experienced in different worlds. All of these had greatly enhanced Lin Yuan's spirit will. Not too far off from a mental will index of 10,000. Lin Yuan was in a good mood. Knowing the precise number of his mental will index eased his mind, and at least he had a goal to work towards. Virtual world. Personal space. After testing his spirit will, Lin Yuan returned here. How to train one's mental will index. Lin Yuan pondered in his mind. The Human Civilization Alliance indeed had many methods for training one's spirit consciousness, but they all required a lot of time. Essentially, they depended on living long enough to improve spirit will. At this time, Shi Feng with his red nose requested to enter, and Lin Yuan chose to accept. Shi Feng's figure appeared not far away, and he respectfully said to Lin Yuan, "Lord Shi-san." Lin Yuan glanced at red-nosed Shi Feng and responded casually. This is a congratulatory gift for Lord Shi-san's promotion to 7th level citizen. Red-nosed Shi Feng immediately said. There's no need for this between you and me. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. Ever since his code name appeared on the Anon Star Alliance's council member list, the number of gifts Lin Yuan had received already exceeded 10,000. Mostly from the forces of various star domains within the Anon Star Alliance, as well as some 7th and 8th layer evolvers. Typically, the value of a single gift is around 100 million cosmic coins. For star domain level powers, they tend to offer gifts valued at 10 billion cosmic coins. From these gifts alone, Lin Yuan's net worth had soared several times over. 100 million cosmic coins are roughly equivalent to a cubic universe crystal, and all the gifts together amounted to over 10,000 cubic universe crystals. To think, Lin Yuan had once been overjoyed to obtain 1,000 cubic universe crystals from 8th-layer evolutionist Oin's legacy. In the blink of an eye, the value of the gifts he received had reached over 10,000 cubic crystals. This is the status of a 7th-level citizen. Lin Yuan mused privately. 7th-level citizens might not hold specific power, but their status is quite high, and they have significant privileges at certain important meetings. The Anon Star Alliance encompasses hundreds of star domains, and currently, there are just 56 living 7th-level citizen council members, with Lin Yuan its 57. The emergence of each new council member is a significant event for the entire Anon Star Alliance. If Lin Yuan hadn't hidden his identity and only displayed a codename, he probably would have received even more congratulatory gifts. Teacher also sent me a gift. Lin Yuan seemed to recall something, his eyes showing a trace of amusement. Not long ago, the Qikuan star domain also sent him a gift valued at 10 cubic universe crystals. The Qikuan Star Lord is also a council member of the Anon Star Alliance, though the Star Lord generally couldn't be bothered to attend the Star Alliance conferences. At his level, it's breaking through to the 9th rank that is his primary concern. This promotion to a 7th-level citizen, aside from the benefits officially given by the human civilization, just the gifts from others alone are worth nearly 20,000 cubic universe crystals. Lin Yuan calculated in his heart. Among these, the congratulatory gift from the Wang US starfield was the largest, in addition to the original 3,000 cubic universe crystals as compensation. After learning that the Golden Dragon Star domain had voluntarily given up that resource-depleted dead star, the Wang US Star Lord sent an additional 2,000 cubic universe crystals as a congratulatory gift. Considering the previous investments made to win over Lin Yuan's vote, the Wang US starfield could be said to have spent a fortune. Moreover, perhaps with the intention of making amends, the Golden Dragon Star domain proactively offered a congratulatory gift worth 1,000 cubic universe crystals. All the gifts combined were worth a total of 19,862 cubic universe crystals. The speed at which higher-level citizens accumulate wealth is just too exaggerated. Lin Yuan felt slightly emotional in his heart. It's known that the entire fortune of the 8th-layer evolutionist Oin in universe crystals is just 1,000 cubic universe crystals, and while most of them were used to exchange for an 8th-rank soul defense treasure, it also shows the amount of liquid universe crystals a regular 8th-layer evolutionist would have. Of course, Oin was an 8th-layer evolutionist from 1,000,000 years ago, and today's 8th-layer evolutionists in the Human Civilization Alliance are much wealthier, but even they wouldn't normally have more than 5,000 cubic universe crystals at their disposal. Now, with the universe crystals Lin Yuan had on hand, including his previous savings, he easily had tens of thousands of cubic universe crystals, which even among 8th-layer evolutionists would be considered wealthy. With these universe crystals, I could procure some cosmic oddities to replenish my inner world, Lin Yuan silently thought. An 8th-layer evolutionist's inner world is initially just a world shell that needs constant improvement through understanding of rules, enrichment with material treasures, and so on. For example, a cosmic rarity named Sands of Flowing Water, when placed in the inner world, can enrich the operation of the inner world with the nourishment of the water's origin source. Deep within the 13 Peaks Great Hall, Lin Yuan was just about to sense the changes in his inner world, when he noticed that his senior brother and other fellow disciples had returned to Qikuan Main Star. The senior brothers are back? Lin Yuan immediately got up, planning to visit his fellow disciples. Recently, the insect race, seeking to attract the attention of human civilization, started a clearing operation against human evolvers on many battlefields of different races. Many 6th, 7th, and even 8th rank evolvers perished in that cleanse. Afterwards, the Human Civilization Alliance reacted swiftly, promptly mobilizing many evolvers from various star domains to carry out retribution against the different species on the battlefields. The senior brother, the second senior brother, and others led their respective armies of evolvers to the battlefields of different races. Has the clearing operation ended? Lin Yuan guessed in his heart and soon joined his fellow disciples. Junior brother, you're here? The 12 senior brothers showed smiles on their faces as they saw Lin Yuan. Junior brother. The senior brother greeted Lin Yuan. Senior brother, you? Lin Yuan observed the senior brother closely, his expression slightly shifted. With his sharp perception, he faintly noticed an icy aura surrounding the senior brother, as if he had suffered some injury. As expected of our junior brother. You noticed so quickly. The senior brother almost provoked an 8th-rank alien race to take action on the battlefield. Although nothing serious happened in the end, he was still affected. That 8th-rank alien race was skilled in soul attacks. Luckily, the senior brother had a soul defense treasure to protect himself, or it could have been disastrous. The other disciples spoke up one after another, explaining the situation to Lin Yuan. Soul attack. Lin Yuan's expression changed slightly. Soul attacks are unpredictable and insidious. Even the 8th-layer evolutionist Yin fell prey to a soul attack. Even Lin Yuan took the defense against soul attacks very seriously, incorporating soul defense into his crafting with origin fine gold. It's okay, our teacher has already had a look, and there's no major issue. I should recover after some time, the senior brother said, waving his hand. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 383. Facing the killing intent of the 8th-rank alien race, I reflected a lot. The eldest disciple sat down and chatted leisurely with his junior brothers. What did you reflect on? The second disciple couldn't help but ask. My mental will index is not high enough, the eldest disciple said solemnly. If my mental will index reached 9,000, with the help of soul defense treasures, even if injured, the severity wouldn't have been so great. The third disciple nodded and said, the stronger the spirit will, the stronger the resistance to soul attacks. If the soul strength is the soldier, then the spirit will is the general, capable of commanding vast amounts of soul strength for defense. I can feel that after experiencing this life and death crisis, my spirit consciousness will enter a period of growth, and there is hope for reaching the 8th layer. A smile appeared on the eldest disciple's face. That was also why the Chikuan Star Lord didn't completely eradicate the dark aura from him. The eldest disciple needed to better sense that dark aura to stimulate his own spirit will. Indeed, facing a life and death crisis can lead to a transformation of the spirit will, Lin Yuan nodded and said. Throughout the long Starry Sea era, those scholars of evolution had studied the spirit will quite thoroughly. To increase the spirit will, one needs to spend a lot of time experiencing. And experiencing what? Including life and death crises. Life often bursts forth with great potential under the threat of death, leading to deeper insights, and naturally, the spirit will is also affected. This method isn't suitable for me, Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. With the slow nurturing of the inner world, even if Lin Yuan remained inactive, his spirit will would continue to grow slowly. Reaching 10,000 on the mental will index was merely a matter of time. Face life and death danger? Death meant truly dead. Although with Lin Yuan's current displayed talent, even if he truly died, he would be resurrected after a long passage of time. But it's better not to die if possible, and Lin Yuan was also unclear what changes would happen to the door to the myriad realms deep in his mind after his death. All right. I'm going to enter seclusion now. The eldest disciple got up, his spirit was high, and this experience gave him great confidence in advancing to the 8th layer. Returning to the 13 Peaks Great Hall, Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. The human race's clearing of the battlefields of different races is indeed almost over. Lin Yuan chatted with his senior brothers for more than an hour and roughly knew the situation on the battlefield. Let's take a look. Lin Yuan connected his consciousness to the virtual world and began searching for relevant videos. With the authority of a 7th-level citizen, Lin Yuan quickly found information about the battlefields of different races. The Heiyuan clan. Lin Yuan clicked on the clearing video related to the Heiyuan clan. As a large secret realm within the cosmic secret realm, the Heiyuan secret realm has a diameter of about 10 light-years and appears like a black hole on the outside. However, in the video, one after another human race evolver descends, with star fortress bases comparable to stars spanning across. The Heiyuan clan deserve to die. At that moment, a human race evolver appears, standing in the void, his shape vaguely blending with the universe, and amidst his indistinct form, he radiates an incredibly terrifying aura. Whoosh! This human race evolver raises his right hand and presses towards the distant Heiyuan secret realm. All of a sudden, space shatters violently, and the Heiyuan secret realm, with a diameter of 10 light-years, begins to disintegrate from its edges into dust. Who exactly is it? Who is destroying the foundation of my Heiyuan clan? Roars of rage come from the Heiyuan secret realm as 5 or 6 towering figures emerge. Their auras, similar to the human race evolver, vaguely blend with the universe, but the auras they emanate are far inferior to the latter. Nailin. Nailin, with your esteemed status, why bother personally striking my Heiyuan clan? The 5 or 6 towering figures emerging from the Heiyuan secret realm are struggling to resist the hand that the human race evolver is pressing down. Nailin doesn't respond but continues to steadily turn the edges of the Heiyuan secret realm into dust. During this time, the 5 or 6 towering figures desperately resist but to no avail. After more than 10 minutes, a tear in space opens in the distance. A nest the size of a planet appears. Nailin withdraws his right hand, glancing at the Heiyuan secret realm that has already disintegrated by 1/10, then turns to leave. The video ends here. Lin Yuan watches in shock and wonder. A 9th rank evolver, that Nailin must be at least a 9th rank evolver, Lin Yuan is very certain in his heart. Not just any 9th rank evolver, but an exceedingly strong existence among them, capable of overpowering the Heiyuan clan's 5 or 6 9th ranks without them daring to resist. One can imagine how strong he must be. Vice Tower Master? Lin Yuan quickly catches on to this title. The current human civilization has 9 supreme beings, who preside over the 9 evolution towers, illuminating the cosmic starry skies throughout the ages. So, the 9 supreme beings are also known as the 9 Tower Masters. To directly obliterate 1/10 of the Heiyuan secret realm, that's an area of a light-year, I wonder how many beings of the Heiyuan clan were directly wiped out. Lin Yuan looks at the video's end, the somewhat damaged Heiyuan secret realm. Indeed, if it hadn't been for the arrival of the insect race powerhouses, perhaps more than 1/10 of the realm would have been crushed. After watching the video, Lin Yuan disconnects from the virtual world and sits cross-legged, falling into silence. I'm so grateful to be living in the absolute peak period of human civilization, Lin Yuan silently thinks to himself. In the cosmic starry sky, only power and sufficient strength can protect everything. If the human civilization were about the same as the Black Abyss civilization and were targeted by the insect race, they would only be able to swallow everything and not dare to speak out. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 384. Martial Path Evolutionary Path. Lin Yuan pondered for a while, opened the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, and checked the number of evolvers at each stage. First tier chapter, 263,897. Second layer chapter, 125,600. Third rank chapter, 2,421. Fourth rank chapter, 307. It has grown so much? A smile spread across Lin Yuan's face. Just the number of evolvers at the first tier had reached more than 260,000, which meant that the unranked martial arts evolvers might exceed 1 million. Lin Yuan was very satisfied with this. It is worth noting that the Martial Path Evolutionary Path had only appeared a few years ago. Being able to attract so many evolvers to cultivate in such a short time was truly incredible. It must be those earlier release training videos that played no small part. Lin Yuan thought silently to himself. Apart from the Martial Path Evolutionary Path, The cultivation analysis videos that broke into the Qikuan evolution rankings and gained massive exposure must have also contributed significantly. They could lower the threshold for martial arts cultivation a bit more. The analysis videos for the 3rd and 4th rank chapters must not stop. Whenever there's time, let's produce them. Lin Yuan made up his mind. He then turned his gaze to the revenue share of the martial path evolutionary path. 2,275 trillion? Lin Yuan was startled, and indeed, there were many zeros following that figure. Most of this revenue comes from the sales of the 7th rank chapter. Lin Yuan thought to himself, his pricing for the 7th stage Martial Tao chapter was 500 billion. After uploading the 7th rank chapter, it directly entered 2nd place on the Qikuan evolution rankings, pushing down 2 8th-layer evolutionary paths. Countless evolvers were curious about the 7th stage Martial Tao chapter, and even if they did not cultivate it, buying it to watch was not an issue. This was still in a comparatively short time. Other star domains and the Star Alliance might not yet be aware of the number of evolvers following the Martial Path evolutionary path. As time passes, the fame of the Martial Path evolutionary path would spread wider and wider, and Lin Yuan's revenue share was about to see another surge. 2,275 trillion, converted into cosmic currency, that's 2,275 billion, which is 2,275 cubic cosmic crystals. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. The upload of the 7th rank chapter turned the Martial Path evolutionary path into a golden goose, with each share of revenue bringing in thousands of cubic cosmic crystals, equating to the total fluid cosmic crystals of a regular 8th-layer evolver. In the future, if Lin Yuan could create the 8th-layer chapter of the Martial Path evolutionary path, even 9th-rank evolvers might envy the wealth he possessed. With my current cosmic crystals, I could indeed purchase a few treasures to perfect my inner world. Lin Yuan silently thought to himself. The inner world, after all, was not a naturally derived world. Although it had a framework and nearly infinite potential for growth, in the early stages, evolvers had to continually invest in it. The investment here involved understanding the rules, as well as rare treasures to compensate for the deficiencies of the inner world. Primordial fire, which can bring bright flames to the inner world, fostering the birth of fire system origin rules, bought. Essence of the earth, bought. Lin Yuan, in one breath, bought several types of rare treasures, spending over 10,000 cubic universe crystals before stopping. That should be enough. Lin Yuan glanced at the cosmic crystal balance in his account and immediately felt a pang of pain. These rare treasures, capable of compensating for the deficiencies of the inner world, were all extremely expensive, and even Lin Yuan was choosing them carefully. The cultivation of an 8th-layer evolver involves constantly perfecting the inner world. The more complete the rules within the inner world, the greater the benefits they offer to 8th-layer evolvers. Teacher's inner world, I estimate, is no different from the real world. Lin Yuan thought to himself, as his inner world, though spanning over tens of thousands of miles, was still barren. Having done all this, Lin Yuan planned to continue pondering on how to swiftly enhance his own spirit will. Just at that moment, Qikuan Star Lord sent a message. "Come to me immediately." The tone of Qikuan Star Lord was very serious. Could it be that something serious has happened? Lin Yuan looked puzzled but still immediately got up and headed towards the most majestic main peak on the central continent of Qikuan Main Star. Scarlet Red Hall. Qikuan Star Lord was seated high above. Lin Yuan and the other peak masters stood below. "Teacher, what exactly is going on?" the second brother asked curiously. "A significant matter." Qikuan Star Lord glanced at the second brother, looking towards the other peak masters. "This is a great opportunity for you." As Qikuan Star Lord spoke, his gaze lingered on Lin Yuan for a moment. "A great opportunity? What great opportunity? Teacher, could you clarify?" The fellow brothers couldn't help but ask. Seeing this, Qikuan Star Lord didn't beat around the bush and straightforwardly said, "Recently, a supreme being of our human civilization fought against the supreme beings of several other races on a large alien battlefield and retrieved a part of a body." Upon hearing this, the peak masters suddenly realized. Recently, A corpse had drifted through the eternal spatial rift located on the large alien battlefield. The insect race, in their scheming for this corpse, had not hesitated to purge human evolvers in some local battles. This was to attract the gaze of the highest beings of human civilization, but obviously, the insect race's scheme had failed as the top diviner of human civilization had noticed the corpse early on. Even the supreme beings of the other peak clans had sensed it and had preemptively blocked the large alien battlefield. The moment the corpse drifted in, several supreme beings attacked simultaneously. Eventually, the corpse was torn apart, and the supreme beings of human civilization and those of other races each seized a part of the body. Teacher, do you mean our great opportunity is related to that segment of the body? The third brother asked incredulously. He had always thought that a body worth fighting over by supreme beings must be very important and had nothing to do with evolvers like them, who were not even 8th rank. Even Lin Yuan was somewhat curious, what kind of body could attract the attention of supreme beings? Indeed, Qikuan Star Lord nodded. The supreme beings of our human civilization decided to select some evolvers from each star domain to try to comprehend that part of the body. Qikuan Star Lord spoke. Comprehend that part of the body? This statement made the brothers' pupils shrink slightly. Although they did not know the exact level of the corpse that had entered the large alien battlefield, being contested over by several supreme beings likely placed it at the supreme being level as well. A body of a supreme being? One should know whether it was human evolvers or the strong ones from other races, their flesh and blood contained the Tao and direction they pursued. A body comparable to a supreme being represented a sky-reaching great Tao to the supreme level. Even understanding just a little bit would be unprecedented help for them. Afterward, Qikuan Star Lord advised some details and then let the peak masters go back to prepare. Teacher. Lin Yuan remained in place. This was also Qikuan Star Lord's intention. That segment of the body is not so easy to comprehend. I don't have much hope for your brothers. It's merely going through the motions. Qikuan Star Lord stated bluntly. But you, Qikuan Star Lord observed Lin Yuan carefully. Lin Yuan's talent was definitely the strongest he had ever seen, especially his intuitiveness in the aspect of space rules, unbelievably astounding, even more exaggerated than him, a starry sky wanderer Kuan. However, intuitiveness also has focal points. Just like a genius who excels in math and physics may not do better than an average person in languages and geography. Qikuan Star Lord was certain Lin Yuan's intuitiveness in space rules was unbelievably high, but the force nature contained in that part of the body was not space. That part of the body is rather peculiar. If you sense something amiss, do not force it, Qikuan Star Lord specifically warned. Even without that part of the body, Lin Yuan could still grow to the 8th layer, and possibly even strive for the 9th rank. So in Qikuan Star Lord's view, Lin Yuan had more choices. I understand, Lin Yuan nodded. He also asked another question. Teacher, is comprehending that part of the body reliant on one's own intuitiveness? Yes, it requires an intuitiveness that matches that part of the body. Qikuan Star Lord emphasized this. Understood, Lin Yuan nodded. Since it depended on intuitiveness, he felt reassured. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 385. As Lin Yuan knew, understanding indeed had its focus on different aspects. Even the most monstrously talented geniuses in the history of human civilization had their weak points. Those evolutionary scholars were even more deeply rooted in diverse domains, such as mental consciousness, certain or perhaps a class of rules, life essence, and so on. Therefore, the reminder from Qikuan Star Lord was not without merit. The body part originated from outside the main world and was entirely different from anything Lin Yuan had encountered so far. The talent and understanding that Lin Yuan had displayed might not necessarily be effective on that body part. What Qikuan Star Lord didn't know was Lin Yuan's against heaven's understanding was omnipotent. This had been fully verified through the past 6 travels. 6 journeys, 6 worlds, These 6 worlds came from different dimensions, different realms, especially the last one, the Tianqing world, which even harbored the presence of a foreign evil god. Yet, Lin Yuan's against heaven's understanding faced no obstructions or discomfort. Teacher, Lin Yuan looked at the Qikuan Star Lord, why would supreme beings release this body part for us to comprehend? This was also a question in Lin Yuan's heart. Even if they wanted to give opportunities to their juniors, would they do it in such an almost semi-public manner? I've only heard, Qikuan Star Lord pondered for a while, you should know, supreme beings are unique. They represent the ultimate existence on an evolutionary path. Theoretically speaking, as long as this supreme being is alive, the evolutionary path, or rather, the standing Tao he's on, will not produce another supreme being. Qikuan Star Lord spoke slowly. I've heard about that. Lin Yuan nodded. That's why, for today's Human Civilization Alliance, they are inclined to pour resources into creating new evolutionary paths, because the more evolutionary paths there are, the greater the hope of birthing another supreme being. Of course, for the vast majority of human evolvers, there's no hope of becoming supreme beings, hence many evolvers walk paths that have already produced a supreme being. These 9 supreme evolution paths, since they were able to birth supreme beings, imply they are very complete and powerful, allowing one to crush other evolvers at the same level, even without the possibility of becoming a supreme being. However, officials of human civilization, the 3 goddesses, and the 9 supreme beings still hope that human evolvers will explore other evolutionary paths. Supreme beings are difficult to kill, even nearly immortal, they exist eternally. As Qikuan Star Lord reached this point, a spark flashed in his eyes. But now, a supreme being has died. He's died, and the ultimate position on the path he was on has emptied. So that's how it is. Lin Yuan's expression showed sudden realization. Through that body part, it might be possible to comprehend the path walked by the deceased supreme being. A path that has once produced a supreme being has proven its sufficiency in perfection, and as long as conditions are met, for instance, the death of that supreme being, it could birth a second supreme being. It's equivalent to a road leading straight to heaven, a great Tao that leads directly to the level of supreme beings. For other evolutionary paths that haven't produced supreme beings, even evolvers on these paths don't know if they can take that step. Otherwise, human civilization wouldn't just have 9 supreme beings by now. Bear in mind, the evolutionary paths that human civilization holds are as boundless as the sea of stars. But now, the path walked by the owner of that body part has been confirmed capable of producing a supreme being. Who wouldn't be tempted by this? The supreme beings of human civilization took the initiative to release that body part, allowing countless evolvers to comprehend it, in hopes that some human evolvers can walk the path of the Bodhi's owner and ultimately become a new supreme being. Originally, the insect race intended to monopolize this body, thus securing another path leading to supreme beings for themselves. But now, that body has been split into several parts, and all the clans that have obtained a part have the chance to grasp this supreme Tao, Qikuan Star Lord said slowly. This urgency in the human civilization officials' releasing of that body part lies in their reasons. Human evolvers can comprehend the body, and so can the strong beings of other races, meaning that the few powerful clans who have acquired parts of the body are jointly competing for the slot of becoming a supreme being. Such an opportunity, in over 2 million years of human civilization's history, is rare, Qikuan Star Lord remarked, feeling emotional, as none of the 9 supreme beings of human civilization had become what they were without multiple attempts, and their evolutionary path had undergone numerous adjustments. Unlike now, where if one can comprehend the Tao within the body, one could have a direct path to becoming a supreme being. Of course, saying it's a direct path is somewhat exaggerated, but at least much more hopeful than the vast majority of evolvers of becoming a supreme being. Teacher, why don't you comprehend it? Lin Yuan paused before asking. I'm at the pinnacle of the 8th layer, and my path is set. That body part is of no use to me. Even if I comprehended the path of that Bodhi's owner, I could not compete with other strong beings. Qikuan Star Lord shook his head slightly. That body part is very strange, containing many paths that are incorrect, with hidden dangers, Qikuan Star Lord explained. returning to the 13 Peaks Great Hall. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged. The Supreme Being's Dao, Lin Yuan's eyes glowed deeply. In the main world universe starry sky, Supreme Beings were the ceiling of combat power. Human civilization, with its 9 Supreme Beings, proudly oversaw the starry sky races. But Supreme Beings can die? Lin Yuan thought to himself. This involved the secrets of the Supreme Being's level, and even as the Peak Master of the 13 Peaks and a 7th-level citizen, he could not find any specific information. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 386. The location for comprehending that part of the body, is it in the virtual world? Did 9 of the Supreme Beings of our human civilization pay some price to replicate 3/10 of that Buddhist essence into the virtual world? Lin Yuan, having received the information, silently thought to himself. This was also to facilitate the human evolvers in their contemplation. Otherwise, to comprehend that part of the body, one would have to travel to the central star domain, which would take a long time. However, the virtual world simplifies many things. One only needs to connect their consciousness to enter. Half a day later, Lin Yuan suddenly received an invitation. Would you like to enter virtual world number 124354? Enter. Lin Yuan immediately chose to agree. To facilitate human evolvers in comprehending that part of the body, the virtual world had specially opened up many worlds, distributing all evolvers across numerous worlds. After all, with such a large number, it's better to manage them separately. Each world has a dedicated manager to check the progress of each evolver's contemplation. When Lin Yuan opened his eyes, he found himself at the top of a mountain peak. Looking around, mountains surrounded him on all sides, and each peak was occupied by 10 to 20 evolvers. Most are 7th rank evolvers, with a minority being 6th rank, and there are even some 8th rank evolvers. Lin Yuan took one glance and took in their various auras. The first batch of human evolvers to contemplate that body part were essentially the geniuses of a star domain. Like Lin Yuan, like the 12 disciples of the Qikuan Star Lord. And likewise, being geniuses, upon entering different comprehension worlds, a second division occurred. Geniuses among geniuses like Lin Yuan, publicly under 100 years old and already at 7th rank, would naturally be grouped with talents who ascended to the 7th rank between 100 to 1,000 years old. You are the 13 Peak Master of the Red Kuan lineage, right? At that moment, a voice came from nearby. Lin Yuan glanced over. The speaker was a stalwart man, his physique as perfect as if sculpted, exuding an extreme sharpness just by standing there. He was an evolver from the 9-sword star domain, named Gao Wufeng, the most valued disciple of the 9-sword star master, who had stepped into the 7th rank at 430 years old and now was at the peak of the 7th rank king level. In terms of strength, this Gao Wufeng far surpassed the great peak master of the Red Kuan lineage. Yes, that's me. Lin Yuan nodded. Now, the evolvers able to contemplate that body part all started from the 6th rank, with no need to worry about assassination from different species, so there was also no need to hide one's identity. At the same time, the other evolvers on this mountain also began murmuring quietly among themselves. That's the 13 Peak Master? Is that the freak from the Qikuan star domain who stepped into the 7th rank before the age of 100? Indeed a freak. I have a special constitution and have awakened the ancestral bloodline, supported intensely by my family, yet I only reached the 7th rank at over 600 years old. How exactly did this 13 Peak Master do it? I heard that this 13 Peak Master doesn't have any special constitutional bloodline enhancement. Freakish, too freakish. The evolvers able to participate in the first batch all hailed from significant backgrounds and were rare talents even within their own star domains, possessing considerable pride. However, upon seeing Lin Yuan, they harbored no thoughts of comparison. After all, stepping into the 7th rank before the age of 100 without any physical or bloodline enhancements was truly terrifying. In terms of talent, Lin Yuan reckoned he might leave his name in the annals of human civilization. How much do you know about this contemplation session, 13 Peak Master? Gao Wufeng from the Nine Swords Star Domain asked quietly on the side. My teacher mentioned it's related to the Supreme Beings. Lin Yuan said directly. Since there was no need to hide this fact, the teacher of Gao Wufeng before him, the Nine Sword Star Master, also had combat power akin to the Qikuan Star Lord, another invincible existence at the 8th layer. Supreme Beings, Gao Wufeng sighed. As pillars of the human civilization, who wouldn't want to become the next Supreme Being? With your talent, 13 Peak Master, you should shine in this session, Gao Wufeng said. It's not that easy. After all, it's a part of a Supreme Being's body. If it were just about talent, there would have been no need to make it public. Just let the batch with the highest talent and gifts comprehend it privately. Lin Yuan shook his head and said, Shan Peak Master is right. A woman with golden wings approached, her entire being enveloped in an infinite radiance, emanating a holy aura. Zhuqiuguang. Gao Wufeng looked toward the woman with golden wings. This woman, named Zhuqiuguang, had awakened the light elf bloodline. The elf bloodline was an exceptionally powerful branch within the human bloodline system, especially adept at comprehending rules. The light elf bloodline had an innate affinity for the rules of light, and the concentration of Zhuqiuguang's bloodline was astoundingly high. Moreover, both her parents were high-priced evolvers of the human civilization, who spared no effort in nurturing her. Zhuqiuguang stepped into the 7th rank when she was only 362 years old. Shan Peak Master, Zhuqiuguang looked towards Lin Yuan, a smile appearing on her face. Gao Wufeng also nodded slightly. In terms of innate talent, Zhuqiuguang was even stronger than he was. The three of them sat together, exchanging ideas, while other evolvers on top of the mountain subconsciously kept their distance from them. All right. Just then, a massive figure appeared under the sky, casting an indifferent glance at the evolvers on numerous mountain peaks. Next, I need to remind you of a few things. First, in this world, both your physical souls are standardized at the 1st rank. Do not attempt to recover or synchronize your strength. Second, regardless of which evolution path you comprehend from that segment of the body, do not cultivate it in reality, but first in the virtual world. Third, it's forbidden to cultivate any evolution path other than what's comprehended from that segment of the body. Fourth, boldly seek to comprehend. Even if you die due to some accident, the Supreme Being will resurrect you. After saying this, the massive figure ceased to speak. At the mountain peaks, the evolvers, hearing this, immediately started whispered discussions. Furbno. Calm, it seems comprehending that segment of the body will be very dangerous, Gao Wufeng said softly. Indeed, Lin Yuan nodded. Otherwise, they wouldn't forbid practicing the evolution paths comprehended in reality, nor would there be resurrection by the Supreme Being if one unfortunately died. Using the resurrection trump card means it definitely won't be smooth sailing. Wanting to become a Supreme Being, how could it not involve risks? Zhuqiuguang's expression was filled with a fighting spirit. From a young age, she had been obsessed with cultivation, longing to become the strongest. And in the human alliance, in the cosmic starry skies, only a Supreme Being dares call themselves the strongest. All right. Good luck. The massive figure under the sky disappeared. In its place was a segment of a body. For a moment, even the light seemed to dim. All the evolver's attention was focused on that body segment. Is that a part of a Supreme Being's body? Lin Yuan looked up as well. As Lin Yuan observed the body segment, an invisible pressure began to suppress down, crushing his spirit will. What is this? Lin Yuan's expression shifted slightly. Under this suppression, as the observation time elapsed, the oppression on Lin Yuan's spirit will gradually intensify. Is this the power of a Supreme Being? Merely a fraction of a body, even a virtual copy, yet retaining only 30% of its power, can cause such great spiritual oppression to me? Lin Yuan marveled inwardly. He glanced around at others, noticing they too wore serious expressions, enduring the natural spiritual oppression emitted by the body segment. However, this type of suppression is actually a good place to forge spirit will. Lin Yuan's spirit stirred. Even his teacher Qikuan's Star-Lord, far surpassing him in power, couldn't exert such immense pressure on spirit will. Perhaps with this suppression, my mental will index could break through 10,000 points in a short period? Lin Yuan thought to himself. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 387. By now, Lin Yuan's inner world had achieved perfection. Both his physical soul had reached perfection. The only thing hindering Lin Yuan from stepping into the 8th layer was his spirit will. Yet, spirit will was very difficult to cultivate directly. Lin Yuan's worst-case scenario plan was to experience 1 or 2 more transits. By utilizing the different flow of time between the transit worlds and the main world, he intended to undergo a great expanse of time to temper his spirit will. But now, feeling the immense psychic will pressure emanating from that segment of the body, Lin Yuan was not shocked but rather overjoyed. This was a natural place to forge one's spirit will. While tempering my spirit will, I shall also comprehend that segment of the body. Lin Yuan carefully observed the segment. It resembled a chunk of heiyu, the skin a light black hue, certain parts revealing muscles and deep purple-colored blood. As Lin Yuan delved deeper into observation, in his vision, the body began to magnify, and countless runes appeared on the surface of the skin, the body of a supreme being, imprinted with the essence of the paths it had taken. Lin Yuan saw an ocean-like flow of runes. Your insight defies the heavens. Observing the mysterious body, you begin to comprehend the first evolution path. Your insight defies the heavens. Observing the mysterious body, you begin to comprehend the 5th evolution path. Your insight defies the heavens. Observing the mysterious body, you begin to comprehend the 20th evolution path. Your insight defies the heavens. Observing the mysterious body, you begin to comprehend the 50th evolution path. So many evolution paths? Lin Yuan was somewhat surprised. Having observed just under an hour, and less than 1/1,000,000th of that segment of the body, he had glimpsed over 1,000 evolution paths from it. This was simply inconceivable. How many evolution paths did this segment of body contain? What if it were the complete body? Half a day later, Lin Yuan discontinued his contemplation. Gao Wufeng and Zhuo Qiuguang approached. It's just too unbelievable. Gao Wufeng shook his head. I've already perceived the beginning of an evolution path from this segment of the body. I feel that this evolution path is at least 8th layer, perhaps even 9th rank or 10th rank, and it suits me incredibly well. Comprehending the beginning posed no difficulty at all. With absolutely no obstruction, Gao Wufeng's eyes blazed with fervor. He even felt that the evolution path he was comprehending might be that ultimate evolution path. Me too. I feel that some of the evolution paths within the body resonate deeply with me, as if they were specifically waiting for someone like me. Zhuo Qiuguang spoke with a tone of excitement as well. Besides the 2 of them at the summit of this mountain, the other evolvers all wore excited expressions, clearly having reaped beneficial insights, gaining what they sought. Shisan Peak Master, what about you? Gao Wufeng looked towards Lin Yuan. I have some gains as well, Lin Yuan said calmly, but his eyes betrayed a hint of puzzlement. It was too easy. Far too easy. Lin Yuan's gaze swept across and noticed that not only the evolvers on this mountain but also many on other mountains seemed to have reaped significant benefits. This was quite inconceivable. Could it be that this segment of the body offered no threshold for comprehension? And the evolvers capable of appearing here all had significant backgrounds and high standards. An evolution path that excited them to such an extent would need to be at least 8th rank, perhaps even 9th rank or 10th rank. Could the evolution paths contained within this body be of such high quality? It should be noted that human civilization has recorded countless evolution paths, but finding ones that reach 8th rank or 10th rank is extremely rare. And they simply comprehended them from the body? A day later, Lin Yuan, Gao Wufeng, and Zhuo Qiuguang gathered together once more. I've already begun to cultivate, Gao Wufeng stated outright. The more I cultivate, the less psychic will pressure I have to endure. It seems the direction I have chosen is the correct one. While observing and comprehending the segment of the body, they all had to endure the psychic will pressure that it emitted. This was something not only Lin Yuan felt, but other evolvers felt as well. However, based on what Gao Wufeng said, one could conclude that the psychic will pressure was not constant and it would decrease with the cultivation of the comprehended evolution path. Me too. Zhuo Qiwang's brows furrowed slightly, an untraceable frown. She had thought the sensation was unique to her. But seeing that Gao Wufeng experienced the same, her thoughts immediately shifted. San Peak Master, which evolution path have you chosen to cultivate? Gao Wufeng looked toward Lin Yuan. Upon saying this, Zhuo Qiuguang also turned her gaze to Lin Yuan. In terms of talent and natural gifts, Lin Yuan was certainly above them. If both of them had perceived the beginnings of an evolution path, it was impossible for Lin Yuan to have gained nothing. "It'll look a bit more," Lin Yuan considered for a moment before responding. The ease with which the other evolvers discovered evolution paths had made Lin Yuan feel that something was off. "Look some more." Zhuo Qiuguang and Gao Wufeng exchanged glances, both somewhat stunned. There was only one seat for the throne of a supreme being. At such a time, instead of rushing to cultivate, he wanted to continue exploring? Freewebble. You should know that competing for the seat of a supreme being were not only fellow humans but also different species. Every moment was exceedingly precious. Gao Wufeng couldn't help but urge, San Peak Master, if you do not choose to cultivate a certain evolution path, you'll have to constantly suffer the suppression from spirit will. Under such pressure, even normal cultivation efficiency is greatly reduced. It's completely unnecessary to do this. San Peak Master, are you perhaps spooked by those initial warnings and afraid to cultivate? Zhuo Qiuguang said from the side, my teacher told me to seize an opportunity when it arises. I am certain that although the evolution paths we have now perceived may have issues, if we halt our progress due to fear of problems, human civilization would probably still be on the mother planet right now. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 388, Zhuo Qiu, you make a lot of sense, but I still want to take another look. Lin Yuan looked towards the two individuals, aware that they were also considering his well-being, and said calmly, Supreme Evolution Path? It is indeed attractive to Lin Yuan, but not as much as one might imagine. Compared to cultivating other supreme evolution paths that supreme beings have traversed, Lin Yuan is more eager to evolve the martial path evolutionary path to the level of a supreme being. Besides, the evolution paths contained within that segment of the body are simply too numerous, so plentiful that Lin Yuan feels panicked and dares not continue cultivating. In addition, Lin Yuan does not wish to lose the tempering of his psychic will pressure. Once he chooses to cultivate a certain evolution path, the pressure weighing upon his spirit would reduce or even halt altogether. To Lin Yuan, the disadvantages outweigh the benefits. After all, the current main goal for Lin Yuan is to elevate his mental will index to above 10,000 points before stepping into the 8th layer. As for abandoning the martial path evolutionary path to cultivate an unknown evolution path, Lin Yuan doesn't entertain that idea for the time being. Although I don't plan to cultivate the evolution paths within that body segment, I can completely comprehend it and then analyze it, strip away the mysterious nuances of the rule understandings, and integrate them with the martial path evolutionary path, Lin Yuan thought to himself. This approach has two advantages. One is to maintain the pressure of the psychic will, ensuring the continuous tempering of his spirit will. Another is to deepen his understanding of the rules and continue perfecting the martial arts evolution system. The evolution paths within that segment of the body are likely flawed, but they must have their merits, otherwise, evolvers like Gao Wufeng and Zhuo Qiuguang would not be so infatuated with them. As for that door to the supreme evolution path, Lin Yuan is rather indifferent to it. Time passed by. In the blink of an eye, a month had gone by. Lin Yuan was sitting cross-legged at the top of a mountain, constantly observing the phantom image of that body segment beneath the vast sky. Waves of invisible pressure descended upon him and murmurs resonated in Lin Yuan's ears, penetrating his spirit will and echoing within his soul. Lin Yuan's expression was solemn, as every moment his spirit will endure tremendous pressure. It is important to note that his physical and spiritual presence in this virtual world was at the standard first rank evolver level. Enduring the psychic will pressure solely through his own spirit will. It's getting harder to bear. Lin Yuan exhaled lightly. The invisible psychic will pressure, like numerous hammers, struck from all directions against his own spirit will and soul. But Lin Yuan did not give up. Places capable of directly targeting the spirit will were exceedingly rare, and this was a shortcut to reaching the 8th layer. Besides the tempering of his spirit will, Lin Yuan continued his analysis of the discovered evolution paths, never ceasing. Your insightful nature allows you to analyze the mysterious evolution paths, enhancing your gains in understanding. Your insightful nature allows you to analyze the mysterious evolution paths, enhancing your gains in understanding. Your insightful nature allows you to analyze the mysterious evolution paths, enhancing your gains in understanding. It must be said, that segment of the body, truly worthy of being from a supreme being outside the main world, offered evolution paths with principles and essences drastically different from those of human civilization. Though both are comprehension of the origin rule, the evolvers from human civilization perceive it from this direction, whereas the owner of that body segment perceives it from a different direction. Yet the essence is the same, often giving Lin Yuan significant revelations. So the space rules can be interpreted like this? How wonderful! The explanation of the life rule is so comprehensible. The 5 elements rule. Lin Yuan absorbed everything like a sponge, relentlessly taking in all the analyzed insights. At the summit of another mountain peak, another evolver was also observing the phantom image of that body segment beneath the sky. The aura on his body gradually changed, becoming deeper and more profound, clearly cultivating the evolution path he perceived to its more advanced stages. I can feel that the path ahead is clear and open, but why is there always a sense? This evolver, a genius from a star domain, entered the 7th rank in his 90s and had an unlimited future. After deducing the evolution path from that section of the body, he began to cultivate with great excitement. The more he cultivated, the more he felt that he had made the right choice. That section of the body seemed to have been prepared specifically for him. Yet now, this evolver felt a sense of dread. The evolution path that I'm cultivating, there's a problem with it. On the surface, it looks perfect, but once you start cultivating, there's no turning back. This was the silent thought in the evolver's mind. What should I do? Stop cultivating? His brows furrowed tightly. It doesn't matter. This is an opportunity to become a supreme being, and even if there really is a problem, I have to solve it. I absolutely cannot give up. With his spirit firmed, the evolver once again fell into the depths of cultivation. The peak where Lin Yuan was located. Gao Wufeng suddenly opened his eyes, his aura turning profound, vaguely similar to that body beneath the firmament. Gao Wufeng opened his mouth. His cultivation had been going very smoothly, but as of late he was feeling somewhat restless. Restless? This emotion, which would usually only appear in ordinary people, was showing up on him? It was utterly inconceivable. Heart demon. The terrifying thought surfaced in Gao Wufeng's mind. As a 7th rank king level peak, he was all too aware of the terror of a heart demon, a tribulation that could only be resisted by those with at least 10,000 mental will index. And now, only 1 or 2 months into cultivating the evolution skill from that body part, a heart demon was being invoked? No, I can't continue cultivating. Gao Wufeng swallowed hard. If he continued to cultivate, he feared he would directly face the heart demon tribulation. Although as a 7th rank peak evolver he was bound to confront the heart demon tribulation eventually, his current mental will index was not up to par. Facing the heart demon tribulation now, his chances of survival were slim. Above the firmament, atop a high platform, several figures stood, overlooking the many evolvers at the peaks of numerous mountains below. It's been over a month. It looks like some have realized the problem. The first man to reveal his vast silhouette and alert the many evolvers spoke indifferently. The paths of evolution contained within that body section, the vast majority are incorrect, they lead to dead ends, to doom. The second figure spoke calmly. The Supreme Beings had discovered this early on and thus, before contemplating, they issued a warning, forbidding the true bodies from cultivating the evolution paths deduced. By doing so, even if they were to end up in dead ends or doomed, it would only result in the collapse and destruction of the virtual bodies, while their true bodies in the outside world would remain unharmed. Of course, some dead ends and dooms targeted the spirit will, the tribulations of the heart demons, which depended upon the evolver's own choices. If they continued cultivating and invoked the heart demon tribulation and failed to overcome it, it would impact their real bodies. But if they did manage to get through it, they might continue on. Although most evolution paths are wrong, there are a few that lead to survival, and the supreme evolution path is even hidden among them. It all depends on whether they make the right choice. The third figure spoke. To greatly ensure the survival rate of these human prodigy evolvers, the Supreme Beings had made many preparations and even promised to intervene in resurrection. I really envy them, unlike us, having set our foundations and lacking the chance to take such a gamble even if we wanted to. The fourth figure spoke softly. Not every evolver has the courage to deduce the evolution path from that body segment, especially the 9th rank evolvers. They have spent incalculable efforts to finally reach the 9th rank, with their foundations already laid down, making it hard to start anew. From the 6th rank onwards, the soul of an evolver begins to integrate with their evolution path. At this level, there's still a possibility of switching evolution paths. The cost is dependent on the price paid and the new evolution path that has to be of a similar kind. But at the 9th rank, it's different. They could only switch to specific evolution paths, even if they wanted to change. Let's see now how many are still cultivating smoothly. The first man to speak started observing each evolver below. When his gaze swept across the peak of a mountain, he showed a look of surprise. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 389. Atop the high platform, numerous figures turned their gaze simultaneously toward Lin Yuan. They were all 9th rank evolvers. More accurately, they were consciousness incarnations of 9th rank evolvers. At the same time, their consciousnesses had split into millions of streams, overseeing numerous newly opened virtual worlds, focusing on the various evolvers' enlightenment progress. The numerous evolutionary paths contained within that segmented torso were partly too strange, some even capable of affecting the true bodies in the external world. Therefore, at least an 8th layer zenith, or even 9th rank evolvers, needed to pay attention at all times. If any evolver took a wrong path and couldn't control themselves, these 9th rank evolvers could intervene. Experience Tales at Empire by Rights. This segment of a dead Supreme Being's body from another realm shouldn't have been made public so quickly. It harbored many dangers and pitfalls, and some genius evolvers could have fallen into them. Even with the separation by the virtual world, where external physical bodies weren't affected, the mind and spirit were unavoidably impacted. However, there was no other way. The controllers of this body segment weren't solely the human civilization. Other different species were involved too, including several peak clans such as the insect race. If the Supreme Beings didn't act this way and one of these peak clans gained control of this supreme evolution path and resulted in the emergence of a new Supreme Being, it would indeed affect the situation on the battlefield. A single Supreme Being could completely disrupt the balance maintained by the current Great Peak clans. At that time, no one knew how much the Human Civilization Alliance would have to concede to maintain a new balance. That youngster hasn't cultivated any of the evolutionary paths he has comprehended so far? The first man expressed his surprise. It had been 1 or 2 months since the start, and generally, every evolver had been cultivating for some time. Once they began cultivating the evolutionary paths they had comprehended, their aura started to change, moving closer to that segment of the body. Yet Lin Yuan, up until now, showed no change in breadth, his strength remaining at the level of a first-rank evolver. I know this youngster. He's Chicken's little disciple, who stepped into the 7th rank before the age of 100. His talent is quite impressive. A figure next to the speaker also commented, equally observing Lin Yuan. To enter the 7th rank before the age of 100 without relying on physical constitution or bloodline, that's impressive, another figure added. As those who could become 9th rank evolvers were exceptional geniuses during their youth themselves, they understood well how difficult it was to reach the 7th rank before 100 years of age purely on one's own merit. Compared to those special life forms in the depths of space blessed with unique gifts, humans were far too weak. This weakness was comprehensive. Of course, what had allowed human civilization to develop up to this point was their numerical advantage, which, under the massive population base, would always give rise to some monstrous prodigies. Comparing with those special life forms, such a genius must be able to comprehend an evolutionary path. Is he aware of the hidden dangers and therefore unwilling to cultivate? The final figure speculated. They didn't doubt Lin Yuan's comprehension ability, thus they believed he must be unwilling to cultivate. Unwilling to cultivate, what is he doing staying here? Refining his spirit will? That's also possible. For geniuses like this, living too short and seeing too little, their psychic will is always their weak point. Some tempering might be good for him. Not bad, this youngster can actually resist cultivating the evolutionary paths he has comprehended, the figures converse softly. Upon comprehending an evolutionary path from that body segment, an evolver would be faced with an irresistible temptation, subconsciously believing that by cultivating this path, a future of unmatched brilliance awaited them. This was also an inherent power from that body segment, a power already greatly weakened. If they had faced the Buddha's true form rather than a projection in the virtual world, even a 9th rank evolver would lack confidence in controlling themselves. Compared to other evolvers immersed in their cultivation, Lin Yuan was having a tougher time. As other evolvers began their cultivation, the psychic will pressure they were facing would reduce or even cease. But Lin Yuan was constantly under the suppression of psychic will. As if the suppression was not enough, Lin Yuan had to keep comprehending more evolutionary paths and analyze and understand them to integrate into the martial path evolutionary path. De Liang Bai. Whispers echoed in Lin Yuan's ears, emanating from that body segment, resonating within his psychic will, each word vibrating his soul. Lin Yuan could feel his spirit consciousness shaking, and it was this constant shaking that made his psychic will grow stronger. This strengthening was very slow, but at least Lin Yuan could feel it. Keep in mind that Lin Yuan's previous enhancements to his psychic will were imperceptible, so being able to sense this was already extremely remarkable. As time passed, something in Lin Yuan's psychic will seemed to break free from some shackle, and the whispering sounds near his ears suddenly disappeared. Has my psychic will undergone a transformation? A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Previously, resisting the suppression on his psychic will had been quite difficult, but it suddenly became much easier. The only possibility was that the change was related to this aspect. However, this force targeting my psychic will keeps escalating. As long as I don't cease my contemplation or start cultivating a certain evolutionary path, the pressure will only grow heavier. It's as if Lin Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly. It's forcing me to cultivate some kind of evolutionary path, Lin Yuan thought to himself. But I want. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 390. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. During this period he had comprehended a total of 137 evolutionary paths, fully analyzing them to only select and absorb the rule understandings that were beneficial to him. These 137 evolutionary paths had significantly advanced Lin Yuan's progress in his core space model, having deciphered 3 additional core space models. The martial path evolutionary paths had also grown increasingly complete. Let's rest for a while. After undergoing a psychic transformation, Lin Yuan felt a wave of fatigue and simply disconnected his consciousness from the virtual world, returning to reality. Has the rare treasures arrived? Upon receiving the message, Lin Yuan immediately got up. Not long ago, Lin Yuan had purchased several cosmic rare treasures to stabilize his inner world. The inner worlds opened up by evolvers are not permanent solutions. They require constant investment in later stages. This kind of investment includes some cosmic rare treasures. Some specific cosmic rare treasures contain origin power from certain rules, defending the inner world, and can perfect the world's rules. The conflict between 8th layer evolvers mainly involves the clash of world powers. Without considering talent, secret techniques, or rule understanding, the one with more abundant and powerful world power will have the advantage. Lin Yuan walked out of the grand hall, gazing towards the sky. Before long, a cosmic spaceship descended. A staff member, carrying a briefcase, approached Lin Yuan. "Here are your items. Shuntong Group is at your service." The staff member, respectful in his approach, verified Lin Yuan's information and identity, then handed over the briefcase. Lin Yuan, holding the briefcase, returned to the grand hall. Cosmic rare treasures. Lin Yuan had purchased 3 parts of these cosmic rare treasures. They were primordial fire, essence of the earth, and formless wind. All 3 were classified as 8-star cosmic rare treasures, costing a total of 16,000 cubic universe crystals, averaging 5 to 6,000 per type. Keep in mind, a cubic universe crystal is worth 100 million cosmic coins, equivalent to 1 trillion civilization coins, meaning each type of cosmic rare treasures was worth 5 to 6,000 trillion civilization coins, a significant asset worthy of an entire constellation system. Moreover, Lin Yuan's ability to purchase these 3 cosmic rare treasures was solely reliant on his privilege as a 7th-level citizen. Those even slightly lower in their citizenship, despite their wealth, would not be able to make such purchases. I hope they won't disappoint me. Lin Yuan looked at the 3 cosmic rare treasures. Purchasing them had reduced his wealth by a quarter. Whoosh! Lin Yuan thought. His consciousness entered the inner world. The 3 cosmic rare treasures appeared there as well. The glass bottles containing the cosmic rare treasures shattered. First was the primordial fire, which ascended and formed a sun beneath the sky, filling the entire world with warmth and light. Then came the essence of the earth, merging directly into the ground. Indistinctly, Lin Yuan felt the world becoming significantly denser. Last was the formless wind, which vanished into the air, the breezes whispering softly. Not bad. Lin Yuan nodded slightly. If the inner world was previously barren, now it was barely brought to life. The power of the world has also grown significantly. A smile spread across Lin Yuan's face. Next time I encounter suitable cosmic rare treasures, I'll buy them. Lin Yuan thought to himself. Not every cosmic rare treasure is suitable for integration into an inner world. It depends on the specific circumstances of one's inner world. Read New Adventures at Empire. The 3 cosmic rare treasures Lin Yuan chose were exceptionally suited to his own inner world. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, half a year had gone by. Most of this time, Lin Yuan had been comprehending that segment of the body, enduring the suppression from the psychic will as well as analyzing various evolutionary paths. The 1325th core space model, Lin Yuan was in a cheerful mood. Half a year ago, just after his 6th traversal, Lin Yuan's understanding of the core space models had stalled at just before 1200. In such a short time, he had now deciphered over 100 more core space models. The evolutionary paths within that segment of the body had been undeniably crucial in aiding Lin Yuan. Aside from the core space models, I've also gained a lot of insight into the core life models, Lin Yuan thought to himself. The evolutionary paths within that segment were all-encompassing, and Lin Yuan had benefited tremendously from thoroughly analyzing each one. Lin Yuan seemed to have sensed something. His consciousness disconnected from the virtual world, and his mind entered deep into his brain. Have I already accumulated a strand of world-breaking origin force? Lin Yuan looked towards the majestic and grand door to the myriad realms. By now, the edge of this gate of light had been fully illuminated. This meant that he had a complete strand of world-breaking origin force and could undertake his 7th transit at any time. Let's wait a bit longer. Traveling through worlds doesn't always offer such favorable conditions for tempering the spirit will. Lin Yuan pondered for a while and decided not to transit just yet. As the mental will index was not up to standard and couldn't step into the 8th layer, Even if Lin Yuan transited, his strength improvement would be limited, especially in the understanding of the space rules. Losing the continuous analysis of the evolutionary path inside that segment of the body he possessed, facing with the realm of 7th rank, he would forcefully perceive the subsequent core space model. Even Lin Yuan found this challenging. It was completely inefficient. Rather than doing so, it was better to pause the transits and fully devote himself to tempering the spirit will, so as to reach the 10,000-point mental will index sooner and talk about breaking through to the 8th layer afterward. After all, the world-breaking origin force wouldn't be wasted. It would just accumulate, waiting for Lin Yuan to use it later. Lin Yuan had never forgotten his purpose, which was to become stronger. If transiting could make him stronger, then he would transit. If pausing the transit could make him stronger, then he would pause the transit. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, another 2 years went by. During these 2 years, Lin Yuan spent most of his efforts on tempering his spirit will, and only secondary on analyzing the evolutionary path inherent in that segment of the body. Because the further he went, the stronger the suppression force on the spirit will would become, which in turn affected Lin Yuan's comprehending efficiency. Lin Yuan stopped observing the body segment below the vault of the heavens and let out a slight breath of relief. It was only during the observation of that body segment that he felt the suppression force on the spirit will, which would grow stronger as the observation time elapsed. And upon ceasing the observation, the suppression force on the spirit will disappeared. Over these years, my spirit will has transformed 3 times, Lin Yuan silently reflected. The first time was 2 years ago. The second time was 1 year and 2 months ago. The third time was just a few days ago. After these 3 transformations of the spirit will, Lin Yuan felt that his mental will index must have improved significantly. Let's go and see what my mental will index is now. Lin Yuan's consciousness disconnected from the virtual world and returned to reality. Let's rest for a while. Lin Yuan didn't immediately proceed with the test. The mental will index is not static. It fluctuates depending on the evolver's condition. Now that Lin Yuan had just finished contemplating that body segment and his mind was somewhat weary, conducting the measurement at this moment might lead to some errors and might not be accurate. Only in a state of mental perfection, measuring the mental will index would yield a relatively accurate result. Half a day later, Lin Yuan had rested sufficiently. All aspects had recovered to their peak. He then reconnected his consciousness to the virtual world. He entered his personal space. Goddess of Wisdom, I request a test of the mental will index. Lin Yuan applied to the Goddess of Wisdom. The mental will index of an evolver, being elusive, required one of the 3 goddesses to allocate some computational power to perform an accurate measurement. Respected 7th-level citizen Lin Yuan, without utilizing any physical soul power, merely relying on your own spirit consciousness, impact the surroundings. The solemn and cool voice of the Goddess of Wisdom came through. Upon hearing this, Lin Yuan did as instructed. Boom boom boom. The terrifying psychic will pressure spread and filled in all directions. A moment later, the mental will index measurement was completed. How much? Lin Yuan's face showed a look of anticipation as he checked the result. The mental will index is 9234. A surge of joy welled up within Lin Yuan. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 391. The mental will index could reach more than 9,200. It was indeed beyond Lin Yuan's expectations. 2 or 3 years ago, when Lin Yuan first measured his mental will index, it was only 7,848. This mental will index of 7848 was the strength of spirit Lin Yuan had accumulated after experiencing 6 travels through time and more than 1,000 years. Now, just 2 or 3 years had passed, and it had increased by more than 1,000. It was truly inconceivable. As is well known, the higher the mental will index goes, the harder it becomes to increase. Lin Yuan's worst plan was to experience several more travels, using the long duration of world travels to forcibly stack up his mental will index. However, that would basically waste the chances of travel because, below the 8th layer, understanding the rules would only get harder. In fact, considering Lin Yuan's current 7th rank status, the ability to understand the core space rule model was already unbelievable. Normally, only at the 8th rank do evolvers begin to comprehend the core space model. Moreover, the core space models Lin Yuan had understood already numbered over 1,300, a level many peak 8th rank evolvers could hardly reach. According to this pace, in at most 1 or 2 years, my mental will index could reach 10,000. Then I can choose any world to traverse and try to undergo the heart demon tribulation, Lin Yuan silently thought. Once the heart demon tribulation was passed, nothing would obstruct Lin Yuan from stepping into the 8th rank. For an evolver to step into the 8th rank, 3 prerequisites need to be met. First, a high enough mental will index, ideally reaching 10,000 points. Second, the creation of an inner world. Only then is the foundation laid for stepping into the 8th rank. Third is to refine the physical soul to the absolute peak of perfection of the 7th rank. The third prerequisite is similar to the first, requiring the evolver to consume a lot of time. After all, even at the 7th rank king level peak, it's still not considered complete perfection. There are minute details that need to be refined slowly. That process is very time-consuming. However, the third prerequisite for Lin Yuan was as if it was non-existent. Once the inner world is formed, the power of the world permeates his body, nurturing the physical soul and even the mental will. More than a year ago, Lin Yuan's physical soul had already achieved absolute perfection of the 7th rank without a single flaw. And with the continuous nourishment of the power of the world, Lin Yuan's physical soul was still slowly improving, pushing the boundaries of the great realm slowly. This is the power of the world, a unique force for evolvers of the 8th rank, especially since Lin Yuan's inner world had reached more than 100,000 miles in diameter, further perfected by 3 universes' rare treasures. The resulting power of the world was immensely beneficial to Lin Yuan. Lin Yuan felt that even if he didn't undergo the heart demon tribulation, just relying on the nourishment of the world's power alone, he could one day reach the peak of the 8th rank, the ultimate 8th rank. Virtual world. Lin Yuan was seated cross-legged at the mountain peak. Quite a few people have been replaced. Lin Yuan glanced at the other mountaintops. Over these 2 or 3 years, many evolvers, due to practicing the evolution path discovered within that segment of the body, experienced physical collapse and withdrew from this round of comprehension. Consequently, many new talented evolvers joined. Many of the evolution paths contained within that segment of the body are dead ends. The Supreme Beings had long set the rules that once the practice fails, one cannot continue the comprehension for 100 years. Lin Yuan thought to himself. This was also for the good of many evolvers. Even though they were practicing in the virtual world, the evolution paths inside that segment of the body could still potentially affect them. This was part of a Supreme Being's body after all. Too many attempts could affect the true body, which could lead to serious issues. Our human civilization is already doing very well. For other groups without the isolation of a virtual world, those alien strong ones who comprehend would have to risk their lives. I wonder how many would die. Lin Yuan shook his head slightly. So far, the virtual world was unique to human civilization, said to originate from the methods of a supreme being, a product of this particular supreme evolution path. Just as Lin Yuan was about to continue his cultivation refinement. Free web novel. Calm, Gao Wufeng is looking for me? Lin Yuan received a message. Gao Wufeng, the most favored disciple of the 9-sword Star Master, had engaged in conversation with Lin Yuan as soon as he entered this virtual world, and the two had a good relationship. Apart from Gao Wufeng, there was also Zhuo Qiuguang, who had the light elf bloodline. Gao Wufeng, Lin Yuan felt somewhat emotional. In these 2 or 3 years, countless evolvers had quietly withdrawn from the chance for comprehension. But likewise, a small number of evolvers shone brightly, continuing on the paths of evolution they had discovered. Gao Wufeng was one of them. The evolution path Gao Wufeng had discovered from that segment of the body was extremely special. It could even trigger the arrival of a heart demon. The arrival of a heart demon was no small matter. It was one of the few instances that could directly affect one's physical self in real life. Without sufficient preparation, facing the heart demon and perishing in the heart demon tribulation would mean not even a supreme being could resurrect them. Under normal circumstances, the best choice for Gao Wufeng would be to decisively give up this chance for comprehension. After all, it concerned his life. The supreme evolution path might be promising, but if one's life were lost, what good would more supreme evolution paths do? But Gao Wufeng did not choose to give up. Instead, he continued to refine his skills, adopting an almost maniacal attitude, welcoming the arrival of the heart demon. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 392. Finally, Gao Wufeng successfully passed the heart demon tribulation. As a result, his cultivation on the evolution path he had comprehended progressed smoothly, and he now stood at the forefront of all evolvers in terms of progress. The mental will index hasn't reached 10,000, and yet he actively faced the heart demon tribulation. His courage is commendable. Perhaps it's precisely because of this that he is in harmony with the evolution path he's cultivating, making everything else go smoothly afterward? Lin Yuan reflected privately. He wouldn't dare to do such a thing himself. Gao Wufeng was completely gambling with his own life. Now that he's passed, he's enjoying unlimited glory, but what if he hadn't? Who would still remember Gao Wufeng? Personal space. Gao Wufeng and Zhuqiuguang were sitting there. There were also a few other evolvers present. Essentially, they were all geniuses who were still advancing on the path of the evolution paths they had comprehended. Peak Master Xianxia has arrived. Upon seeing Lin Yuan, Gao Wufeng immediately greeted him. Peak Master Xianxia. Peak Master Xianxia. The other evolvers did the same. After all, Lin Yuan's reputation as a genius was indeed formidable. No evolver dared to take him lightly. Once Lin Yuan settled down, they resumed their conversation. Brother Gao, you must not be far from the 8th rank by now, Zhuqiuguang remarked, looking at Gao Wufeng with admiration. To forcibly overcome the heart demon tribulation, I admire your courage. Zhuqiuguang was very clear that if she were in Gao Wufeng's position, she would most likely not dare to continue cultivating. This time it was the heart demon tribulation I faced. Next time, who knows what it will be, Gao Wufeng said humbly. In truth, Gao Wufeng was quite pleased with himself because he had bet correctly, and now his cultivation was going extremely smoothly. At this moment, Gao Wufeng even had a wild ambition. He believed the evolution path he was cultivating was the supreme evolution path left by the supreme being. Otherwise, how could he possibly be cultivating so smoothly now? I must have passed the test. Only by overcoming the heart demon tribulation and possessing an unstoppable mindset can one pass the test. Gao Wufeng was swept up by surging emotions. Right? Gao Wufeng's eyes shifted, looking at Lin Yuan. Peak Master Xianxia, how's your cultivation coming along? Haven't picked an evolution path to cultivate yet? It was no secret that Lin Yuan wasn't cultivating a comprehended evolution path. Right? I'm timid, afraid of making a mistake, Lin Yuan said. Timid? Gao Wufeng frowned. As a human evolver, one should be unstoppable and break through all obstacles. Just like how he faced the threat of the heart demon tribulation, he faced it head-on. Now hasn't he passed it and even gained great benefits? Peak Master Xianxia, I have to say this. Sometimes, being timid isn't a virtue. With the virtual world acting as a barrier, even if something really goes wrong, you'd have the chance to start over. Why hesitate? Sometimes, if you don't seize the opportunity, it'll be difficult to grasp it later. Gao Wufeng couldn't help but advise Lin Yuan. Actually, I am also tempering my spirit will, Lin Yuan added. Tempering the spirit will? The other evolvers glanced at each other. They all felt Lin Yuan was being somewhat foolish. The spirit will could be gradually improved through many methods. Using the precious opportunity of comprehending a part of the Supreme Being's body to temper the spirit will? This was akin to trading a gem for a bead. All right. Let's not talk about this. Gao Wufeng decided not to continue advising Lin Yuan. Strictly speaking, he and Lin Yuan were in a competitive relationship since the Supreme Evolution Path could only accommodate one person to become a Supreme Being. Lin Yuan, a prodigy with even superior talent and aptitude, was giving up the opportunity to cultivate the evolution path and to become a Supreme Being because of his timidity. Gao Wufeng ought to be happy about that. I've called you all here this time because I want to discuss some questions encountered during cultivation, Gao Wufeng stated, as it was common for evolvers to exchange experiences, especially since they were all cultivating evolution paths learned from the same source. They chatted for half a day. Lin Yuan was listening at the side. I wonder if Peak Master Shirsan has any insights? Gao Wufeng still valued Lin Yuan's opinion. Even if Lin Yuan had not cultivated it as a top genius, his knowledge and thoughts would surely have something out of the ordinary. Brother Gao, I think the evolution path you are cultivating now will likely have an impact on your spirit will later on. Lin Yuan paused for a moment before speaking. Influence my spirit will? Gao Wufeng pondered for a moment and replied, Thanks for the reminder, Peak Master Shirsen. I understand. What did it matter if it influenced his spirit will? As long as he could become a supreme being, paying any price was worth it. Qikuan Main Star. Lin Yuan's consciousness returned to reality. Gao Wufeng must be in trouble now, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Based on the description by Gao Wufeng, Lin Yuan had also comprehended the evolution path in question and had analyzed it, finding that it was a huge pitfall later on. Initially, Lin Yuan wanted to remind Gao Wufeng. But seeing Gao Wufeng's dismissive attitude, he decided not to continue. Now, Gao Wufeng was immersed in his beautiful dream of becoming a supreme being, and nobody's words would be effective. Is becoming a supreme being really that easy? Just then, Lin Yuan's expression changed slightly. He looked up towards a certain direction. There was a fluctuation of the space force. Opening up the inner world? Did Big Brother have a breakthrough to the 8th layer? Lin Yuan stepped out of the Great Hall, speculating in his mind. 2 or 3 years ago, after Big Brother returned from the battlefields of different races, he faced the killing intent of an 8th layer alien race and experienced the threat of life and death. At that time, Big Brother had deep insights, and after returning, he began to close off for retreat, not even participating in the comprehension of a supreme being's partial body this time. Whoosh! Lin Yuan flew to the front of the first peak. The other 11 disciples also arrived. They waited outside for Big Brother to complete his breakthrough. The fluctuations of the space force. From beginning to end, it was extremely stable. There shouldn't be any problem. After observing for a while, Lin Yuan thought to himself. Although Lin Yuan had not yet made a breakthrough to the 8th layer, he had the experience of opening up an inner world and knew that Big Brother was having a very smooth time opening his inner world now. The most difficult part for a 7th rank evolver to break through to the 8th rank evolver is to open up the inner world. Like Lin Yuan, whose inner world had reached more than 100,000 miles in circumference, and yet still stuck at the spirit will hurdle, it was indeed extremely rare. Mainly because Lin Yuan was too young and cultivated too quickly. A moment later, the spatial fluctuations stabilized. Big Brother's figure also swiftly flew out. Congratulations, Big Brother. Congratulations, Big Brother, for breaking through to the 8th layer. All the peak masters congratulated him in unison, and Big Brother was also all smiles. Come over, all of you. Suddenly, the voice of Qikuan Star Lord, the teacher, rang in the ears of Lin Yuan and the others. The teacher is calling us. Let's hurry over. It must be to praise Big Brother's breakthrough. I'm so envious. When can I break through to the 8th layer? Lin Yuan and the other peak masters flew towards the central main peak. The Crimson Great Hall. Qikuan Star Lord was seated high above. Big Brother and the other disciples stood on both sides. Well done. Qikuan Star Lord looked at Big Brother and nodded slightly. Thank you, teacher. Big Brother was overjoyed. Breaking through to the 8th layer, he was happy too, as this was the most critical stage for human evolvers. As an 8th rank evolver, one could dominate a star domain, become a Star Lord, and deter all directions. He could be called a grand official who sealed borders. How big is your inner world? Qikuan Star Lord asked after thinking for a moment. When evolvers open their inner world, as long as it is under 1,000 miles in circumference, they can actively suppress it without triggering a world's phantom. Teacher, my inner world is 220 miles in circumference, said Big Brother with an excited tone. Generally, evolvers who have newly advanced to the 8th layer have inner worlds of only 100 miles in circumference. For Big Brother to reach 220 miles in circumference, it was clearly much stronger than the average newly advanced 8th rank evolver. Just having reached the 8th layer, Big Brother already has an inner world of 220 miles in circumference. His potential is limitless. Big Brother, you must lead me in the future, give me some guidance. With such a large inner world, how strong must the derived world force be? The Peak Masters discussed among themselves with tones of admiration, full of envy. Especially the 2nd and 3rd disciples, they were also at the 7th rank. Though they had not reached the peak of kingship level, they could also look forward to the 8th layer, and they were clear about how rare it was for Big Brother to open up an inner world of 220 miles in circumference. An inner world of 220 miles in circumference? Chikuan Star Lord glanced at the spirited Great Peak Master, then looked at Lin Yuan, quietly sitting there with a smile on his face. He said nothing. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 393 Chapter 393, 11 Desperate Situation. Please subscribe. Chikuan Star-Lord's thoughts were complex. His eldest disciple had entered the 8th layer, which should have been a cause for joy. After all, this was his first 8th layer disciple. But comparisons can bring fear. The eldest disciple entered the 8th layer, and his inner world reached a radius of 230 miles. That, compared to Lin Yuan's inner world of over 100,000 miles. And Lin Yuan was still only at the 7th rank. When he stepped into the 8th layer, his inner world would experience an explosive growth. The gap between them would only widen further. Looking at his eldest disciple's face full of joy, Chikuan Star-Lord couldn't help but sigh inwardly. Indeed, sometimes ignorance is bliss. All right, don't be too complacent. The path after the 8th layer is not easy. You need to collect various cosmic rare treasures, comprehend more rules, and perfect your inner world, Chikuan Star-Lord said. As one who had been through it all, an invincible existence at the 8th layer, Chikuan Star-Lord was fully qualified to say this. Even among those at the 8th layer, the disparity was huge. Take Chikuan Star-Lord himself, for example. Killing an ordinary 8th layer strong one was not much harder than chopping vegetables. On many medium-sized otherworldly battlefields, when Chikuan Star-Lord revealed his true body, he would blot out the sky. With an open mouth and a mere inhalation, countless alien strong ones were swallowed. Then there was that member of the Heiyuan clan from 1,000,000 years ago, the invincible 8th layer Qingyu. With just a single soul attack, he pierced through 8th layer evolutionist Oin's myriad defenses, almost shattering his 8th layer soul defense treasure. Even so, Oin could not escape the fate of death. Understood, the Great Peak Master was startled and immediately refocused his thoughts. Indeed, for the entire human civilization and the 10,000 races of the cosmic starry skies, the 8th layer only qualified one to stand on the stage. That's good. Chikuan Star-Lord nodded slightly. Although the Great Peak Master could not compare to Lin Yuan, he too hoped that his disciple could walk further on the path of evolution. Which star domain do you plan to preside over? Chikuan Star-Lord looked at the Great Peak Master and asked. Preside over a star domain. Below, Lin Yuan and many other Star-Lords heard this and turned their gazes towards the eldest brother. The Human Civilization Alliance protects and shelters evolutionists below the 8th layer. There is hardly any compulsory mission order, even for going to the battlefields of different races. Evolutionists apply to go voluntarily. Evolutionists below the 8th layer, as long as they don't actively seek trouble or violate the laws of human civilization, can live very comfortably. This might seem ordinary, but in the cosmic starry skies of other species, the weak are enslaved and driven. Where is there any freedom or comfort? But all this applies only to those below the 8th layer. Once evolutionists reach the 8th layer, they must fulfill their duties to human civilization. Specifically, that means choosing a star domain to reside over as a star lord for 500 years. After 500 years, 8th layer evolutionists can choose to continue or to step down. In short, evolutionists below the 8th layer are protected. At the 8th layer, they protect other citizens. "Teacher, I haven't thought it through," the Great Peak Master said. Before his breakthrough to the 8th layer, the Great Peak Master did not even know if he could successfully step into the 8th layer. If he died under the heart demon tribulation, thinking more would be pointless. "No matter, take your time to consider," Chikuan Star Lord was just asking casually, presiding over a star domain and serving as a Star Lord. Although it was the duty of an 8th layer evolutionist, it was not something that needed to be done immediately. There was time to adjust. After giving some advice, Lin Yuan and the others left one after another. At the first peak, 13 peak masters of the Red Kuan lineage gathered. "By the way, eldest brother, while you were in seclusion to break through to the 8th layer, the supreme beings of human civilization brought out that body of an extraterrestrial being from a large battlefield." The third brother shared the recent events, emphasizing the section of the body from an extraterrestrial supreme being. "I am aware of this," the eldest brother nodded. As long as his consciousness connected to the virtual world, he could understand most of it. Comprehending that section of an extraterrestrial supreme being's body was not a secret in human civilization. Nearly all 6th rank and 7th rank evolvers knew it. Supreme beings did not intend to conceal the matter either because, ultimately, that body would be opened to most human evolutionists. The other peak clans that obtained parts of the body would also do so. The few peak clans were competing, vying for the soul path toward the supreme tier of evolution. The teacher told me that the evolutionary path contained in that section of the body is very strange, and over the years, those evolvers who have comprehended the path have not been doing well in their cultivation. So I have decided not to comprehend that section of the body. The eldest brother shook his head. Whether to comprehend that section of the body is entirely up to the evolutionist, but with the opportunity of the Supreme Being's tier in front of them, hardly any evolutionist refuses. The eldest brother knew his own affairs. Having just broken through to the 8th layer, he needed a lot of time to stabilize his realm. At this time, to comprehend an unknown body was completely unnecessary. For the eldest brother, it was most important to first stabilize his own realm. By the time he did, many talented evolutionists would have already joined in. Competing with these talents who had a head start was nearly hopeless. Hence, the eldest brother chose to give up directly. "That's wise," Lin Yuan thought to himself and nodded internally. Using his against heaven's understanding, he kept contemplating the many evolutionary paths within that section of the body and became more aware that almost all the comprehended paths had some degree of problems. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 394 Chapter 394, 11 Desperate Situation. Please subscribe. _2 The eldest disciple was steady and did not engage, at least not affected by that mutilated corpse. Virtual world. Lin Yuan was still sitting at the peak of the mountain. At this moment, atop the many peaks of this virtual world, evolvers still filled the seats. However, in reality, nearly 99% of the evolvers had been replaced once, with most being newcomers. Lin Yuan observed the torso below the heavens, his spirit constantly suppressed while also contemplating the evolution paths contained within that torso. I have now comprehended 2,837 evolution paths and have fully analyzed and integrated these evolution paths into myself. But compared to the myriad evolution paths within this torso, it is but a drop in the ocean. Lin Yuan's expression was one of astonishment. High-rank evolvers indeed practiced many evolution paths, but this Bodis owner practiced far too many. Moreover, these evolution paths are rather sinister. Lin Yuan thought to himself, especially the psychic will pressure that forced evolvers to quickly choose an evolution path to cultivate. Anyway, I am not cultivating, just comprehending, so it shouldn't affect me. Lin Yuan gathered his thoughts. It's like a medical prescription. No one knows what effects the medicine brewed from it will have. To understand it, one must drink the medicine, but Lin Yuan had no intention of doing so. He was only contemplating the prescription, so naturally, there wouldn't be any problems. The 2837th evolution path. Lin Yuan's expression shifted as he grasped another evolutionary path from that torso. Everything born is meant to be killed. At the moment he comprehended this evolution path, Lin Yuan felt overwhelming murderous intent. At the same time, he felt a desire to immediately immerse himself in the cultivation of this path. Lin Yuan ceased his contemplation. The suppression from the psychic will ceased, and the sounds of slaughter that lingered around him also gradually faded. If another evolver had comprehended this evolution path, they might have started cultivating it immediately, right? They would then be affected by the massive murderous intent and thoughts within, and it's likely their true body in the outside world would turn into a lunatic who only knows slaughter? Lin Yuan silently thought to himself. This wasn't his first encounter with such a phenomenon where merely comprehending some evolution paths had begun to influence him without even cultivating them. From this, Lin Yuan set a restriction for himself. If the body in the virtual world began to cultivate, he would instantly sever the connection, returning his consciousness to his original body. That way, at least the influence would be cut off. Continue. Lin Yuan rested for a while, then began to analyze this path of slaughter evolution. Not far from Lin Yuan, Gao Wufeng was also meditating cross-legged, cultivating the evolutionary paths contained within the body. Observing the torso under the heavens simultaneously could terrifyingly enhance the speed of cultivation. While Gao Wufeng continued his cultivation, Gao Wufeng's consciousness quietly began to descend. Where is this? Gao Wufeng opened his eyes, looking around warily. But he received no reply. In all directions, there was nothing but whiteness. Initially, Gao Wufeng, cautious, did not act rashly. But as time went by, 100 years, 200 years, 1,000 years, 10,000 years, Gao Wufeng's expression subtly turned frantic. In this endless white space, without any rules disturbances, he had no way to cultivate. Gao Wufeng could only watch time slowly pass. After 20,000 years, Gao Wufeng completely lost control and went mad, striking out in all directions. Although many evolvers might spend decades or even centuries in seclusion, that would be immersed in cultivation. Perceiving the fluctuations of rules, experiencing the great Tao of the world and engrossed in it, time would pass very quickly. But in this white space where Gao Wufeng found himself, with no rules fluctuations and without the ability to fall into slumber, he could only watch as time passed by. Being able to withstand 20,000 years was already a result of Gao Wufeng's extremely strong spirit will. If another evolver took place, they probably would have begun to go insane within less than 10,000 years. Another 50,000 years passed. Where exactly is this? Who am I? Am I called Gao Wufeng? I come from human civilization, but where are all the others? I remember having a teacher, right? A trial. I remember I was comprehending that severed body, but how did I end up here? Gao Wufeng grew mentally agitated. 100,000 years later, Gao Wufeng looked up into the sky, which was still a vast expanse of white. Darkness flashed through Gao Wufeng's eyes. The spirit will began to fade, a fading that was deliberate, in other words, something done by Gao Wufeng himself, having lost the will to continue living. Outside, for Gao Wufeng, the tens of thousands of years experienced in the white expanse. But in the outside world, only a few breaths had passed. Gao Wufeng's body began to collapse, and his psychic will began to fade as well. Brother Gao! Lin Yuan immediately noticed the change, stopped observing, and looked towards Gao Wufeng. He wasn't far from Gao Wufeng and noticed the anomaly immediately. Did the cultivation fail? Didn't make it through this time? Lin Yuan sighed, recalling how Gao Wufeng had previously faced the heart demon and forcibly survived, resulting in significant progress in his cultivation afterward. But now, it seemed he had encountered a similar crisis with the heart demon, unfortunately not surviving this time. Over the years, Lin Yuan had seen many such cases already, some evolvers cultivating when suddenly their physical bodies collapsed, and their consciousnesses dissipated. I wonder if it has affected the true body in the outside world? Lin Yuan thought to himself that if it was only the physical soul collapsing within the virtual world, it wasn't a significant issue as long as the physical soul in the real world did not encounter any problems. An hour later, Zuoqiuguang walked over. Brother Gao nearly caused a massacre in the Nine-Sword Star domain. If it were not for the timely intervention by the Nine-Sword Star Master, who knows, Zuoqiuguang directly said, as she had a good relationship with Gao Wufeng and often kept in touch. After learning of Gao Wufeng's incident, she immediately went to investigate the happenings in the Nine-Sword Star domain. Brother Gao's spirit must have encountered some issue. Fortunately, with the timely suppression by the Nine-Sword Star Master and the aid of some cosmic rare treasures for healing the mind, future problems should be manageable. Zuoqiuguang's tone inadvertently revealed a hint of fear. Just yesterday, Gao Wufeng was still sharing insights with her, appearing entirely normal. Yet today he seemed utterly insane. If the Nine-Sword Star Master hadn't intervened in time, the consequences would have been unimaginable. This body. Zuoqiuguang looked up towards the severed body under the sky. She initially thought it was a great opportunity, her chance to become a supreme being. However, as time passed, Zuoqiuguang witnessed, one by one, geniuses walking towards dead ends. Many of these evolver geniuses were not much inferior to her, yet they still didn't make it through. This body, there's a significant problem. It's definitely not just about comprehending the evolution path. Zuoqiuguang muttered to herself, I might not be able to carry on either, Shursan Peak Master. Sometimes I envy you, not having taken up the self-researched evolution path on your own. Right now, the thought of not cultivating seems so difficult. Once one chooses to cultivate the evolution path contained within this body, there's no turning back, unless one chooses not to enter this virtual world. For as long as one continues to study that severed body, the evolution path within will do the cultivation on its own. Can't carry on? Lin Yuan looked towards Zuoqiuguang. Although I haven't gone mad, the more I cultivate, I occasionally fall into some illusionary realms, and sometimes I don't even realize, Zuoqiuguang said. She didn't originally see these as issues until she saw the nearly mad Gao Wufeng. Zuoqiuguang was worried that one day, she too might become like Gao Wufeng. That indeed calls for a stop. Lin Yuan nodded. According to Zuoqiuguang's description, if she continued to cultivate, big problems likely awaited, not very different from Gao Wufeng's fate. Funny when you think about it. Initially among the three of us, both Brother Gao and I were full of fervor and ambition, determined to master that path of the supreme evolution. Yet, both of us have left the scene, while you, Shursan Peak Master, are still persisting. Zuoqiuguang sighed, her figure disappeared, leaving the virtual world. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 395. Zuoqiuguang's words carried a hint of self-mockery. Once upon a time, she, along with Gao Wufeng and several other evolvers, had somewhat looked down upon Lin Yuan's timid actions. They believed that on the path of evolution, pressing forward relentlessly was the correct approach. For instance, Gao Wufeng had forcefully attempted to transcend the heart demon tribulation. But now, Gao Wufeng had nearly gone insane. She also decided to give up proactively. The other evolvers had one after another failed in their cultivation during this period. The small group from the beginning, now only Lin Yuan was still persevering. Judging from the results, the few of them had gained nothing over these years. And because the cultivation involved paths from the evolution path, their psychic wills were all affected to a certain extent. Furbnov. Calm. Even though it wasn't as serious as Gao Wufeng's situation, they would still need a significant amount of time and resources to recover. Meanwhile, Lin Yuan sought only to use psychic will pressure to temper his own spirit will. Looking at it now, he seemed to have reaped substantial benefits. Although, in the views of Zuoqiuguang and the others, tempering one's spirit will was not considered a difficult task. But at least compared to themselves, Lin Yuan was not only unharmed, he had also gained. before and after, made a stark contrast. "I just chose not to cultivate," Lin Yuan sighed. Indeed, saying not to cultivate sounds simple, but doing so is exceedingly difficult when the supreme evolution path lies right before you. Who could resist not cultivating? With delicacies on the table, could you bear to only eat plain rice? Lin Yuan could control himself because he possessed against heaven's understanding and the door to the myriad realms, believing that he could find a way to become a supreme being without relying on that physical body. But others did not have this capability. Even the descendants of supreme beings, faced with such an opportunity, must contend. No wonder the rules set by the supreme beings involve different batches of evolvers, coming in to comprehend, rather than all at once, Lin Yuan thought to himself. If it were all at once, a collective issue could significantly impact all of human civilization. Even if the ones comprehending that body were mainly 7th-rank evolvers, such a level of evolvers disappearing suddenly in large numbers could easily cause disturbances. Whereas, coming in batches, this problem doesn't arise. If there's a problem with this batch, just temporarily close off that body. Wait until most are healed, then reopen it step by step. The deeper the cultivation in the evolution path contained within that body, the greater the impact on oneself, especially if the cultivation fails. Lin Yuan glanced at that segment of the body beneath the heavens. If the cultivation failed just at the beginning, chances are, the impact would be minimal, at most needing some time for recovery. But like Gao Wufeng, who after achieving some success, failed again in further cultivation, that isn't just a matter of recovering over a period of time. That's wise what Qiuguang chose to give up proactively, considering it was better to quit now than to be forced to later after a failed cultivation, which would come at a much higher cost. Gao Wufeng was the example. If the path of evolution I cultivated, using against heaven's understanding, potentially allowed me to go far, far beyond Gao Wufeng, but once it failed, the cost would be devastating. Lin Yuan shivered involuntarily. I must not cultivate. I must even be extremely cautious in comprehending. Lin Yuan furrowed his brows slightly, thinking to himself. On Qikuan main star, Lin Yuan disconnected his consciousness from the virtual world, planning to rest for a while. World-breaking origin force. Lin Yuan's spirit moved to the depths of his mind, gazing at the majestic door to the myriad realms. At the same time, Lin Yuan began to receive multiple bits of information transmitted from the door to the myriad realms. 5 strands of world-breaking origin force. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. Over the past few years, he had not traversed at all, instead focusing on comprehending that body and tempering his spirit will, and unknowingly, had accumulated 5 strands of world-breaking origin force. If it weren't for Yin God constantly being on the battlefields of different races, the current world-breaking origin force would be, at most, 3 or 4 strands. Lin Yuan looked upwards, towards a direction he had chosen. A battlefield of different races designated for the Taiyin primordial spirit to stay under that eternal spatial rift, to accelerate the accumulation of world-breaking origin force. 5 strands of world-breaking origin force allow for 5 traversals, but these 5 traversals are random, unable to select the scope and level of the worlds. Lin Yuan pondered. Random traversal made Lin Yuan uneasy. What if he traversed to a low-tier world like the first time, unable to even recover to his peak strength, let alone grow stronger? Wouldn't that waste a traversal opportunity? If I don't engage in random traversal, I currently have 2 options. Lin Yuan stroked his chin. One option was to head to the spirit realm. This was a coordinate regarding the spirit realm that Lin Yuan captured during his 5th traversal in the central divine China world. With the coordinates, Lin Yuan could spend 10 strands of world-breaking origin force and arrive in the spirit realm unnoticed. Given the spirit realm's level, it would be sufficient for Lin Yuan to cultivate for a long stretch, at least up to the 8th layer, even not worrying about the 9th stage. The second option was to deeply develop the Tianqing world, more accurately, the outer void of the Tianqing world, where evil gods swarmed. Even some legendary evil gods at the 9th stage had established strongholds. Of course, there was a third option. That was to expend 100 strands of world-breaking origin force. Customize the world being traversed to. Customize, as in completely according to Lin Yuan's requirements. For example, if Lin Yuan wanted to traverse to a primordial great world, he could directly customize that, then traverse. Similarly, if Lin Yuan wanted to specify the scope and level of the world being traversed to, he could also customize that. Of course, custom traversal starts from 100 strands of world-breaking origin force. If the custom world is special, the consumption would be even greater. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 396. But overall, as long as the world-breaking origin force is sufficient, Lin Yuan can travel to any world, with neither dimensions nor realms able to stop him. Tianqing World. Thinking of Tianqing World, Lin Yuan planned to receive the information coming from it. Within his 6 travels, the one to Tianqing World was definitely the deepest he had mastered, even replacing the world consciousness. With the ancestral demon tree in charge of the heavenly Dao, Lin Yuan could barely receive information from Tianqing World through the world coordinate mark of the door to the myriad realms. So much has happened over these years? Lin Yuan focused his mind on the world coordinate mark of Tianqing World. Suddenly, a massive amount of information from the ancestral demon tree flooded into his mind. Only a few years had passed in the main world since the end of his 6th travel. However, for Tianqing World, due to the difference in the flow of time, thousands of years had elapsed. During these thousands of years, the beings of Tianqing World had been doing fine, but those several foreign evil gods had repeatedly made proactive approaches, wanting to contact Lin Yuan. Yet they were all sent away by the ancestral demon tree following Lin Yuan's instructions. Those several foreign evil gods, Lin Yuan's eyes narrowed slightly. He had sensed something off about those foreign evil gods back then. They actually wanted to invite him to explore some void secret realm? As long as the ancestral demon tree is seated within the world, there is nothing to fear. Lin Yuan was unconcerned. With the world tree of the ancestors having become the heavenly Dao of Tianqing World, it was not to be compared with the original world consciousness, wielding the overwhelming force of the world. Even if 10 foreign evil gods attacked, the ancestral demon tree would be able to withstand them. Time passed on. Another year went by. Lin Yuan sat cross-legged at the top of a mountain, observing the body beneath the vault of the sky. Your understanding is against heaven. Observing the mysterious body, you have deduced the 3331st evolution path. The 3331st evolution path. Lin Yuan's eyes brightened slightly, and he immediately began to analyze this evolution path. This is called an evolution path, and it's related to time? The combination of time and space? The essence of time-space? Lin Yuan was amazed. The rule of time, like the space rules and the law of life, is one of the pillar rules of the main world. However, compared to the space rules and the law of life, the rule of time is much harder to understand. To fully comprehend the entire rule of time is something only a supreme being can achieve. The resurrection ability of a supreme being relies on reversing time-space, which requires complete mastery of the rule of time, breaking free from the constraints of the river of time, flowing against it to resurrect a person from a past time. Of course, the essential nature of life of the resurrected person must reach a certain level, otherwise, if the life essence is too weak, even a supreme being flowing against the current cannot fish it out to place it on the current timeline. The rule of time, Lin Yuan contemplated closely. Time is intangible and ubiquitous, yet incredibly difficult to understand, especially since Lin Yuan was only at the 7th rank. The level was too low. Even with against heaven's understanding, the benefits were minimal. Forget it. I'll contemplate it after reaching the 8th layer. Now, I'll concentrate fully on understanding the space rules. Only with a deep enough understanding of the space rules can I better understand the rule of time. Lin Yuan gave up on the contemplation of the rule of time, as it was too unprofitable for him. Time slowly drifted on. More and more human evolution geniuses entered the virtual world to understand that body. These evolver geniuses, being latecomers, knew the outcomes of the first evolvers who contemplated that body. But not a single evolver gave up, since being known as an evolution genius, They all were extremely confident, believing that what others couldn't do, they definitely could. I am of the ethereal body, and even the goddess of wisdom has taken notice of me, hiding and protecting my information. I will definitely deduce the supreme evolution path. In one virtual world, a youngster sat on top of a mountain, looking up at the body beneath the firmament. Several months later. Who am I? Where am I? What should I be doing right now? This youngster looked bewildered as his body exploded with a bang. This is the supreme evolution path, and I have reached the pinnacle of the 8th layer, barely having any hope of stepping into the 9th rank, not even possibly achieving invincibility at the 8th layer. Rather than that, I might as well take the risk, abandon everything, and contemplate that body. If successful, I will receive the nurturing of the entire human civilization. An ancient-looking old man made a decision in his heart. He then applied to the goddess of wisdom for a chance to contemplate that body. A year later, the ancient-looking old man sat at the top of a mountain. Looking at the body under the expanse of the sky, his expression was extremely solemn. Something's not right. This body is not right. The evolution path I cultivate is not right. This ancient-looking old man kept recalling something, feeling that a chunk of his memory was beginning to be missing. And this sign even had a tendency to spread. This body is too demoniac. Why would a supreme being release such an uncontrollable thing? The ancient-looking old man steadied his spirit and decided to give up contemplating. If he continued to contemplate and practice, he felt that all his memories would be wiped clean. At that moment, would he become a puppet without any memories? This body I now have is a special life form that was recently seized. Its talent is far superior to humans, and with it to understand that body, the process should be more effective. A green-skinned man with dragon horns on his forehead smiled. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 397 on the topic of innate talent. Humans can never surpass those special beings in the depths of space. Of course, when it comes to falling short, we're talking about entire clans. If we consider individuals, given the population base of human civilization, every so often there emerge some monstrous prodigies who are not the least bit inferior to those special beings. However, among the clans of special beings, geniuses and prodigies are also born. And this dragon-horned, green-skinned man, his seizure target was a genius from one of those special being clans. His comprehension of various rules was extremely terrifying, with robust vitality, an unmatched physical body, truly formidable. In his quest to comprehend the supreme evolution path, this dragon-horned, green-skinned man had paid a steep price. Capturing such a special being genius alive was no easy task. 1.5 years later, the dragon-horned, green-skinned man looked terrible, with layers of vague shadows shrouding his consciousness. Is this a heart demon? Damn it, wasn't it said that only an extremely small number of evolution paths would bring forth a heart demon? The dragon-horned, green-skinned man exhaled gently. He was already an 8th layer evolver with a mental will index exceeding 10,000 points. For him, surviving a heart demon tribulation again was not difficult. No, this is the 9 layers heart demon tribulation. A moment later, the dragon-horned, green-skinned man let out a mournful howl. There are simply too many geniuses in human civilization. Lin Yuan sat on the mountaintop, watching batch after batch of human prodigious evolvers come in. These evolvers, perhaps in terms of comprehension, were far inferior to Lin Yuan, but in other areas, such as constitution, bloodline, soul, and so on, they each had their unique strengths. Add this was only the virtual world Lin Yuan was in. Besides this virtual world, there were countless others, each allowing for the comprehension of that segment of the body. Pity, they all failed. So far, not one of the geniuses attempting to feel that body has found the supreme evolution path? Lin Yuan silently pondered. Perhaps, the supreme beings were wrong? Inside this segment of the body, there's no such thing as the supreme evolution path? Or maybe, the body that contains the supreme evolution path isn't this segment, but rather on a body held by other peak clans? Lin Yuan speculated. But what does that have to do with me? I had no expectation of comprehending that supreme evolution path at all. I'm already quite satisfied just by contemplating and analyzing the common evolution paths contained within the body. Lin Yuan gathered his thoughts and continued to observe the segment of the body under the vault of heaven. Your comprehension is against nature. Observing the mysterious corpse, you've comprehended the 3333rd evolution path. Time passed unnoticed. Lin Yuan once again comprehended a new evolution path. Counting from the first evolution path he had comprehended to the current one, Lin Yuan had now realized 3,333 evolution paths. Analysis. A smile appeared on Lin Yuan's face. However, before Lin Yuan could conduct an analysis on this new evolution path, boom. Within Lin Yuan's memory, the 3,332nd evolution path he had previously comprehended, and this 3,333rd evolution path, unexpectedly triggered some sort of mutation. In an indistinct manner, the 3,333 evolution paths formed a 9 floors dark tower mark, merging deep into his soul. Lin Yuan was startled in his heart. The next moment, the murmuring sound exerting psychical pressure from that segment of the body, which had been causing Lin Yuan a great deal of stress, suddenly became clear. Comprehending 3,333 evolution paths, forming the magic jade mark, automatically becomes a regular member of the magic jade tower. If you find any errors, ads pop up, ads redirect, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know reports so we can fix it as soon as possible. You're tuning into the Wang Lin's Journey YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.